This week on NintenDomain, we're going to talk about all the things that we got for Black Friday. Plus, is 2015 the new 2002?
A Christian RPG? Well, that sounds nostalgic.
Act to tears, no promises.
Welcome to NintenDomain Podcast, episode 449, your place to hear Nintendo fans talk about being not recording for 2 weeks and all the things we did in between then and now. And we're your hosts. I'm Trey Stab Trilogy Johnson.
I'm Jeremy Goaty Speedrun Mikowski.
I'm John Prepared for Garbage Knitter.
Prepare for garbage.
And before I forget, I wanted to say we have a comment from last episode. Oh, and also... sorry we missed last week. It was my fault. Every year for however long, I go to the Thanksgiving Eve AEW event at the Wintrust Arena, and I had to watch the Continental Classic, the beginning of it. No, it was my fault. I was at AEW for late, and we missed. We took a week off for Thanksgiving, so that means that we'll have more stuff to talk about, or at least I will. I was telling Jeremy that earlier on the in-betweens. That's what sucks about taking a week off, is that I have more video game stuff to talk about because I have more time off. Mm-hmm. But we did get a comment on our last episode, and it was from Blue Sky. Hey, Blue Sky is the place to be. I've actually been doing a lot of stuff on Blue Sky. I got a bunch of followers. Be careful though; there's a lot of fake followers out there.
I've already noticed. I've got some fake followers.
I got a fake follow from Nyla Rose, and when I saw it, I was like, wait a second. I already follow the real Nyla Rose. This is a fake one. And yeah, it was. It was the same name with a 0 at the end of it. So be careful. Some of your favorites that you like to follow on the internet might pretend to follow you back as bots. So look out there. But yeah, obviously after all the bullshit that happened with the elections, Blue Sky is kind of blown up. And I've been trying to, I already had an account for NintenDomain, but I made an account for myself as well. And I mirrored all of my follows and try to look up everybody that I followed on Twitter on Blue Sky and all that, and trying to move it over. Even though one weird thing, Nintendo is not on Blue Sky. Like Nintendo of America does not exist on Blue Sky. Japanese Twitter Japan is still on Twitter because they, it's Japan. They don't care what we're doing or whatever. So they haven't really moved to Blue Sky. From what I've seen, so you basically have to hear other accounts talk about what Nintendo's doing. But Nintendo directly,
I think Nintendo should adopt a Blue Sky strategy.
They have. Blue Sky's already got like a whole bunch of people, like it's blowing up, But what Nintendo should, yes, move to Blue Sky, but they should also let you post videos to Blue Sky directly from the Switch. I think that would be a big deal for the system. Since they took Twitter away, why don't we just make it go to Blue Sky? Or you can just record credits with your phone and put it on there. So if anybody wants to see my beats of the week, I've been putting them on Blue Sky now instead of Twitter. So anyway,
I was just
it's
thinking
a fun place.
But I was, I'm always kind of thinking about just dropping Facebook, but man, the ads and the random suggested for you. Hey, why don't you follow this group?
Facebook's really bad.
It's out of control. And
yep,
Blue Sky's better. I actually haven't gotten any ads there, from what I can tell. It seems. I don't know. It seems like Twitter 15 years ago or whatever. I mean, what do I know about that? The only reason I started Twitter was just to promote this podcast. So
it was kind of, the reason I got I had a Twitter already, but I didn't really use it until we started making connections with people in the gaming community, in different spots. That's how we would connect.
I did have a Twitter. I started a Twitter to follow. Do you remember that robot thing that they landed on the moon or whatever the fuck it was called, the Curiosity or whatever it's called? I started a Twitter to follow the the NASA account, the Twitter account, during that landing, and that was my actual Twitter, my first Twitter account that I ever started. Which when was that? I don't know. That had to have been it was after. It was in the 10s, I think.
Let's say
And
it started in 2009. So
well, I moved to my Well, I knew it was after 2009 because I moved to my apartment in 2009, and we watched The Landing like Brandon and Jason and I did, and I didn't know any of them before that. So I mean, it had to have been 2009 or after. But that was my first Twitter account. Then I made the NintenDomain one. But yeah, Blue Sky's cool. It's better. But we got a comment from there from one of our listeners, and I thought it was cool to get a Blue Sky comment. But Andrew V said to us, always listen, always enjoy. Don't know why this stuck in my head, but a note. Nintendo still sends out game surveys, and you do still get platinum points for them. That's how I'm able to fill my house with endless treasures from the Nintendo store, from the My Nintendo store. So last week we were talking about, John was talking about the surveys on the Nintendo the Nintendo website and all that, and I think I said specifically that I didn't know whether they were giving platinum points or not, or if there was a point to actually doing video game surveys, and Andrew was saying that there is. And on what John was talking about, physical items, you can still order physical items with those platinum points. So if you do, and you can do stuff for demos now too. I've actually gotten emails about doing surveys about game demos also. So you can get stuff, you can order stuff, is what Andrew was saying. And thanks for listening. And I know Andrew is also a patron of ours now, so thanks for that as well.
Yeah,
tips.
I think that was like a month ago, but yeah, patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. I in the time that we had off, I spent a lot of time putting together the WART radio, which is one of my favorite WART radios I've done. This last one I combined October and November because I had an extra week. I was able to put everything together, so it's like a 2-hour playlist. It's pretty sick. But and also we have our where we talk about worlds that we'd rather live in than this one, due to the results of the, our coming hellscape that's coming towards us, which that was a fun one to cut together as well. So you can find that on there. But yeah, thanks for listening and commenting.
Just to piggyback off of that, I guess I'll explain my nickname, or my quote, or whatever you want to call it. I said prepared for garbage, and that's because our next episode, which I think is going to be a really good one, we're challenging ourselves
to do. That's what you say.
I think it's gonna be so bad it's good.
This is a John Birth idea. This was John's idea.
I wanted to do. There's so many terrible games on the Switch. It's known for lots of. There's over 11,000 games at last count, I think. So a lot of that is shovelware. A lot of that is like the cheap dollar cash in whatever games where you're like, I don't know, how did they make this? Or why is this on here? And so I thought we'd do the 12 awful games of Christmas, where we each make 4 suggestions, throw those into the pile, and then we gotta play them all, so and give our impressions. So I've bought some of those games so far.
You got them already, and we haven't even sent you the money for them. You bought them for yourself already. But of course, no mention of what they are or any impressions. Right. That's for Patreon only.
Right. I just want to give a little tease because I think it's a good idea.
Oh yeah,
It's gonna be a fun episode.
We should definitely say what it is and let people know about that. And you can listen to it for only $1. And there's even like, you can get like a free week on Patreon, and I guess you can gift subscriptions to people too as well, from what I've heard. Yeah. So, and actually we do have a lot of Patreon episodes that you can buy a la carte and all that. I made sure and put all the stuff from previous years up for like $3 or something like that. So yeah, if you just want to buy it and not do a monthly thing, you can totally do that. So. Go for it. There's a lot of stuff on there. I was actually, I was looking back at all our old X packs, and we've done a lot of. There was what was it? I think it was like X Pack 3 or 4, where there was one called "Show Me Your Game." Is what I think is the idea. Was like, let's talk about a game that you're playing that maybe nobody's talking about. And I think this might have been the first time that John ever talked about Mr. Gimmick. I think it was the origin of Mr. Gimmick was from that one. Yep. And it was an early one. I think it's like I was saying. I think it's X-Pac 3 or 4. Like it was, so it was like 3 or 4 years ago or something like that. Which actually, 2025 next year will be, towards the end of the year will be the 10-year anniversary of NintenDomain. So we got that coming up too. We should come up with some sort of fun thing to do for that.
I mean, we are in our 10th year now.
Well, we started in 2015. Our first episode was done in 2015. So 2025 will be hitting 10 years at the end of the year. Yeah. Well, it would have been nuts. I think we probably started around August or September. I remember because there was a specific event that I got drunk and talked about at the end of the second episode. But yeah, there was a thing that happened. It wasn't great, but yeah. But anyway, inspired us to do a podcast and all that. So cool. 10 years almost. But we got a lot of Patreon stuff. Check it out. But no, I think maybe that was the first time that Mr. Gimmick was mentioned, is what I was thinking. I was like, oh yeah, was that the one?
Yeah, I believe it.
But yeah, the shitty games, it'll be interesting. I took the time off to look through and find ones that I went for, and some of them were just how bad the description is, and I think one of them was actually said that it got a bunch of awards, but I still thought it looked awful, so I put it on there just kind of as a joke, that sort of thing. And yeah, $1. I was telling Jeremy earlier, there's like 20 Snake games on there. They're like Snake clones. The game where you eat the thing and the snake gets longer. There's like 30 of them in the dollar ones. Like I was like, okay, or calculators or whatever. All this dumb shit.
Yeah, I found a few surprises, a few WTFs. Yeah, it's going to be a fun episode, and that should be coming around, available to you in January sometime.
Well, I mean, it'll probably be out. Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, the last one came out towards the end of November, so I figured it'd be towards the end of December. But I try to not linger too much after we record it, so I don't want it to be too later. But yeah, probably early January at the latest. But yeah, look forward to that. But why don't we start off the show as we normally do and talk about games that we got and games that we've been playing. I think we should start off with the birthday boy, Jeremy.
Hey, birthday boy.
Jeremy had a birthday.
Here's my birthday.
In between episodes, you had a birthday.
Yep.
I texted you at midnight because I had gotten because I mentioned earlier Black Friday deals and all that. I always try to grab you guys your Christmas holiday gifts early for Black Friday, and I got Jeremy a holiday gift and a birthday gift, of course, two separate ones. But I was very excited to give it to you, so I texted it to you at midnight on your official birthday day or whatever.
Yeah.
So you could have it. So and I wanted to see if it worked too, because the way I had purchased it was I bought a digital code from Best Buy, and I'd never actually done that before, and I wanted to make sure that it worked. But
well, it's cool because I didn't know what it was until I inputted the code.
Yeah.
So it was still a surprise. So that was kind of neat. But yeah, it was a Banana Rumble.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, Super Monkey Ball.
I got that new Monkey Ball, and it came out this year, so it's gonna be. I got to put some time into it.
I do like to get stuff that I think should be eligible for Game of the Year, and this one when I first started playing it, obviously I thought about you, Jeremy, because we played a lot of Super Monkey Ball on GameCube back in the day.
Oh yeah,
and I thought this game was really good. I mean, the single player was incredibly solid, and I played this. I made it to credits, but it's basically like you get halfway through the game, you get credits, and then there's another half of the game after that. So it's like, I didn't make it all the way through the second half, but I loved it. I thought the levels were as creative as they were like way back in the GameCube days, and it really did take me back to that time, back when Super Monkey Ball was really good. And I don't feel like we've had a great one in a long time, probably necessarily since Super Monkey Ball 2. So this one was like, I was like, holy shit, this is great. And I, missed playing it with you, and I thought that you should have it, and that's why I sent it to you. And I was actually able to get the Black Friday digital discount through Best Buy, which is pretty cool. And I think I got you cool. I got you the deluxe edition too. That's what it was saying on the email. Did. So you should be able to get the Sonic, like the Sonic skins and all the Sega stuff and all that, right?
Yeah, I can be the guy from what's it called, Chimio.
You can be Rio in a forklift.
Well, you can be Kiryu also. You can be Kiryu-chan. You can put him in there. No, the fun thing about the Sonic one though is if you do actually wear the Sonic skin, it turns the bananas into rings, so you can pretend that you're playing a Sonic game, which is cool. But yeah, I actually didn't know it was the deluxe one. That was kind of a bonus. But I was like, oh hey. But they sent it to me as an email, and it gave you the code, but the code was a link, and if you click on the code, it goes to your Nintendo account. And I was afraid that I might have accidentally activated it for myself, but I'm like, but I already have it, so don't. So I wasn't sure if it worked, but thankfully
it worked.
It did. Yeah.
I get all my codes through Best Buy solely because I don't want to buy everything from Amazon. So
Sure.
let me throw a bone to Best Buy.
I don't
here.
think you can do it anymore.
Well,
on Amazon.
you can't buy the digital card codes.
It was kind of off and on. I think they turned that back on. There was some kind of internal dispute, and on Kit and Krista, they
You still can't
were
do
talking about it.
Yeah, they're probably wrong, but you still can't do it as of right now because I did actually look like a couple days ago. You still cannot get digital codes for the Nintendo Switch from Amazon. So who knows if that'll ever come back or not? But as of right now, it's not there because I was looking. It was on my Christmas list. I had it from before, and you still couldn't get it. Well, you had to physically order a card, and they'd send it to you in the mail or whatever. But I never actually. I think one time. Yeah, it was, what was it? Not last year, but the year before. Was it? Anyway, I got you the Pokemon, the Scarlet Violet, with that one year. But that was like a Nintendo game, so most of the time you can buy you can buy a card that has the code on it for a Nintendo directly made thing. But I've never done like third party stuff, And I was looking around. I was like, because I wanted to get I wanted to get the discount, I wanted to get the Monkey Ball discount, and I wasn't, but I didn't want to get you the physical and I figured you'd play it more if I got it digital. And anyway, I made it work, and hopefully you enjoyed it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I haven't had a lot of time to play it. Now, that's not to say I haven't had time to play video games, but I've only done a little bit on it. But what I've done so far, I do really like the boost feature, or whatever you want to call it, where you. It's just that extra mechanic that's a nice little.
It's a big deal though if you're trying to make the times and all that, because there's this whole extra thing about where you can kind of speed run it if you want to, or it's like
kind of like drifting almost, because you can boost around corners and stuff.
Well, and also you can boost. You can like skip entire levels. Like if you do it right, you can jump and then land through the goal. And there's crazy shit you can do if you're good enough at it. And that's what's fun with it. And there's 3 different things. You get one check mark for beating it regularly, or you get another check mark for beating it with a certain amount of bananas, and you get a third checkpoint for beating it in a certain amount of time. So it basically makes it like if you wanted to 100% it. You'd potentially have to play the levels 3 times each. So there is a lot of extra shit to it. Not to mention, like I said, there's 100 levels and you get credits, but then there's another 100 levels after that. So I mean, there's 200 levels in there. There's plenty of shit to play. It's got double credits and all that. And I guess they just added a first person mode, even though I don't know how that would make the game any better to play. I don't understand how that'd be beneficial to you. But they're adding an extra harder difficulty to at some point, like a nightmare mode or whatever. So they're still supporting it months after it came out. So it's a solid one.
Yeah, I love it. It looks great. It's bright and colorful. It's I like my games.
It's fast too. I mean, the loading time's pretty fast from what I played of it. And it's really easy to just, stop, restart, you can pause, restart real quick and, get right back into it. And there's some really unique levels in there as well. I actually, did some 30-second captures because there was some really cool shit. And like I was saying, when you do the boost and you hit the goal and you're like, holy fuck, I skipped the whole level, and you want to save that stuff. And actually, you don't even really need to capture it on your system, because it'll save a certain amount of the levels also within the game, and you can look back at them. There's a lot of cool shit in there. So
it saves replays automatically.
Yeah, it saves them already in the game. So
how about the mini games? Does it have a bunch of mini games like the other ones do?
I think that's where it's actually missing. I actually didn't really play any of the mini games. I just played the single player. But the single player is the best that it's been since Monkey Ball 2 on GameCube. So that's I'll tell you that. I know you like Banana Blitz, but Banana Blitz is whatever. I didn't think. I mean, Banana Blitz was fine, but I never thought it was as good as the GameCube ones.
I liked being able to tilt the Wii remote. I thought the 1-to-1 tilting worked pretty well.
Yeah, I didn't like that. It felt less precise to me personally, but
yeah, I think I always would want to play it with the stick, just because that's how I'm used to playing it.
Yeah, but I look forward to you playing more of it. Yeah, like I said, this. If
you remember, there was there was one other game where there was an extra mechanic that never came back.
What the
Monkey Ball Junior had a half break on the Game Boy Advance, so that you would move as fast. You would hold the B button down, and then you would roll a little slower.
Yeah, because they didn't have analog, so they had to compensate for that. So that's why they did that. I was gonna say, well, they didn't bring They didn't bring the jumping back from the Wii one because that was the thing also. But that kind of broke the game a little bit.
I forgot about that shit.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's a solid game. And the cutscenes are really cool too. Once again, reminding me of like the funny cutscenes from GameCube. And even when they did the remake, they didn't do the cutscenes right. Like they didn't feel like they had that magic, as they originally did. But I felt like this one did.
But yeah, so that was awesome. And then John also sent me a gift, and it was an eShop card, and I used that to buy a couple other games.
From Best Buy also, right?
From Best Buy, yep.
Yeah.
I just bought these off the eShop though.
Best Buy got some dough from us for birthday stuff.
Yeah, really appreciate it. But I got this first one I haven't played a lot of, but I got Prince of Persia Lost Crown because it was on sale. It was fairly cheap.
What was it, like $12 or something?
Yeah, it was really cheap.
It was I saw you could buy it physical for 18 for the actual cartridge. But yeah, I know it was pretty cheap on the eShop. I thought it was like 20 or less. I don't know if it went as low as 12, but yeah, I mean,
it was something like 12. It was really cheap.
I was happy that you got it because I thought you'd like it. I've been trying to put together because I'm actually doing a top 5 for Alex again for Super GG and all that. And I was trying to put interesting different games, and I thought about somehow working Prince of Persia in there as being like the game that was highly regarded, but I didn't get into because of a really fucked up glitch. Like how it screwed over my save file and all that. But they did fix it finally, but it was so after the fact that that I was kind of so past.
You lost momentum.
Yeah, no, I totally lost some momentum, which is a shame because I was really into it, and yeah, and then it kind of screwed me over with the save, and then it came back way, way later, and I played it a little bit, but I got distracted.
Yeah, it was like a long time before it got fixed.
It took a lot of months.
Yeah, I've only played through. I don't even know if I would say levels. I'm not exactly sure. It's like more like an open world, I guess. So
did you get to like the? Did you get to like the? What was it? There's like this weird lion boss kind of that has these different parts to it. Reminds me of something out of Revelation or something like that from the Bible. Maybe. It's got all the different faces. It was the first boss that I got to that I thought was hard, and that was. I
don't think I made it that far. Then I've played some like what would be called mini bosses, but
okay. Because there was one boss that I just kept playing over and over again. And when I got through it, I was like, yeah, it was like really rewarding when you finally beat it. Because you had to dodge and like you had to slide all over the place on that one.
So you have to beat like the captain. I think that's like the first quote unquote boss you fight, and then you fight him again later on when he's like resurrected. And then like I don't remember. I just did it like all in one sitting and I was enjoying it, and then I got to a point where I was getting frustrated with when I would die. It took me way too far back.
Oh.
So I had just gotten whatever, like where you meet the kid or whatever. You meet the kid by the place where you get a save or whatever that spot is.
Oh, okay.
And like I had to go all the way back there. I died, and I got a little frustrated and stopped playing. But I also have lots going on. Like I can play other games when I'm, stressed. So that's
sure,
okay.
Yeah.
Which, like, the one I've been playing a lot more that I got this week was Pentiment.
Yeah, I saw you got that.
I saw that you got that, yeah.
Didn't John?
I don't know. I thought you got it. Didn't you, John?
Yeah, I got it, and I played it for about 3 minutes, and then I just set it aside.
It does kind of seem like it would be up your alley. It's got a very adventure game or, point-and-click adventure game feel to it.
It's just a point-and-click game, right? I mean, it looks like a point-and-click
It's kind of like a point-and-click. Like, you're actually walking around. I would say it's like Night in the Woods without the jumping.
Oh, so it's like kind of a walking simulator with like
and I mean it's all based upon going
stuff.
around a map, and the visuals are everything. The visuals are supposed to mimic like something you'd see like in the illustrated the Canterbury Tales, something like very medieval. Like think of like a lot of the art in Monty Python where they're making fun of medieval art, and it's like that kind of art,
very flat 2D.
Very like wild looking characters, like
oh yeah. Like
it's really I don't know, everything about the color
medieval
palette
illustration.
it's spot on.
Like
the way they talk is all like
Holy Grail stuff.
All the people talk with like different fonts, and like the people that in town that are who own the printing press. Like that whole family, when they talk, it'll appear as a relief first in their word bubble, then it flips over and it stamps down.
That's cool.
So everybody just got kind of like little quirks to their fonts that are cool, and then obviously there's a lot of like old English and stuff, but then also they'll just say stuff like that sounds totally modern from time to time too. So I don't know. It's kind of a bit balance of the two. It does give you an option to like standardize the font, I think, more.
Oh, so it doesn't change in case it's hard to read some of the
Yeah,
variations.
yeah. But
That
I
makes
think it's
sense.
part of the charm, is trying to kind of like figure out what the hell it's talking about sometimes. And it'll also do this thing where like words will be misspelled and then someone will like erase it and then write it back in. I don't know. There's just a lot of really quirky little things they're doing with the word balloons when people talk to you. And the word balloons look like little scrolls.
Mm.
So it's almost got like I wouldn't say it's like made out of paper, but it's almost got like a paper craft quality to it.
That's cool.
I don't know. It just really kind of shines the most for its visual flair. And then it's got like a little glossary. So when they're making references to certain things. So I said this was a Christian RPG, and it totally is. Because you're at
the Pentiment,
because you're staying at a monastery / abbot, whatever you want to call it. It's like both, because there's nuns and priests that live there, and it's kind of near Nuremberg, Germany, but it's a made up town called, I want to say it's called like Till or Sill, or I can't remember. That's the name of it, and you're a wandering artist trying to paint your masterpiece, and while you're at the convent, you're like working for them, doing work for them, and they're allowing you to stay there, and in your free time you can use their facilities to work on your painting. And I don't know, it turns into like a whole murder mystery kind of thing, and it's pretty cool.
A lot of it is like understanding the people in the town, right? I mean, that's kind of the way.
Yeah. All the characters have a lot of depth to them, and I've gotten far enough in the game to where there was a pretty like stark change that happened, and some of the people that I'd started to like become fond of in the town were not around anymore, and it's the most I'll say, because it's very like the narrative of the game is the whole point of it. So
yeah, you don't spoil
if
it.
you're going to be reading a lot, you're going to be reading a lot. So if you don't like reading a lot in games, you probably won't like it. Mm-hmm. But it's like
but it makes it interesting.
It's like an RPG in the sense that it's just choices you make. So I think in that way it'd be almost a little bit like Disco Elysium.
Sure. Choose your own adventure, the video game.
What happens, and I've kind of gotten far enough in the game to understand. Every once in a while, like you make lots of multiple choice responses to things people say to you, and every once in a while it'll be like, that will be remembered. It'll make it like a point of it. And then later on, something will happen where, they're going to make a decision, and based on what you said to them, they'll either help you out or they won't.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's kind of what I've figured out so far. But I mean, I'm not super far into the game, but I am to like I said, there was one big change. I imagine that after seeing that big change, that I can expect more things like that in the game. But yeah, it's cool. And if not just for the music and the art alone, it's worth checking out.
The boss was Jahandar, is who I was trying to think of for Prince of Persia. It's the second boss.
Oh,
it's the second boss. It kind of looks like a lion, but it has like bat wings and horns and like a beard.
I've definitely not gotten to that.
It 100% like it makes me think of like the creatures you hear about in Revelations in the Bible or whatever, that have all the different weird shit stuck together. Like that's what I thought of, like from that, where it's like, oh yeah, it's the beast with all these different other shit from other beasts or whatever. That was like the first boss that I thought was pretty difficult, and that's like the second major one, I guess, according to IGN's walkthrough or whatever. But that boss was really cool. But yeah, it felt like it was kind of like it was like it was a stopping point where it's like, oh, if you want to get farther in the game, you got to learn how to beat this boss. So it kind of teaches you the mechanics, like that sort of thing. Where it's like, all right, you actually
definitely not made it there then.
It's like, yeah, you got to do all the shit. You got to do all the dodges and
like the parrying. I'm not as good at, and the dodging, but I'm getting better at it. But yeah, Pentiment, I don't know much. I don't know much else to say about it other than I guess I'll talk about it more as I play more of it. Let's see. I also bought for myself the Dominus collection, which I want to play.
I saw you had that
Dominus
too.
collection was that?
That's the Castlevania DS collection.
Yeah.
I think that was on sale for like 10 or something like that. It was really cheap.
Was Pentiment on sale too?
Yeah, Pentiment was like $7 or something like that.
Oh, $7? Jeez, that's good sale.
Yeah,
just trying to keep with the theme of, because like I said, I mean, the Black Friday sales are like over now, but I mean, That's kind of what happened in the last week. So I'm trying to keep with that theme, just to be
Yeah. And that's what all the
sale,
stuff that I've been buying has been cheap.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I bought for myself. Otherwise, Prince of Persia and Pentiment and Banana Rumble, those were all gifts. And well, I did buy myself one other thing, but I'll save that one for next week. That's on the PlayStation 5. You can probably guess what that is.
Oh, is it the robot game?
No, it's the I got a Metaphor. On the Black Friday sale.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, the $50.
But I haven't played it at all. You know, I'm kind of like overwhelmed about going back to it. But I wanted to grab it while it was on sale, and it's gonna be my January game. I think I'm really gonna sink my teeth into it in January.
What is the fucking robot game that I can't remember? I thought it was
Astrobot.
Yeah. I thought maybe you got it Astrobot. I guess I'd completely forgotten about a Metaphor, even though it's it's a lot of people love it. I mean, it's made by the people who did Persona and Shin Megami Tensei and all that, so it's got to be good. Also, the soundtrack of Shoji Meguro, who was on. We talked about him on our favorite composers.
Yeah. It's. I'm excited to just kind of. That's what I'm going to do, like I did with Elden Ring a couple of Januaries ago. It's going to be that's just all I'm going to play probably. So I'll get to that when I get to that. But for now, I guess another important thing that I should mention. Oh, well, whatever. I'll mention I played Plucky Squire a little bit just because I don't think any of us have gotten around to playing that. And it's on the PS Plus.
Did you like re-up your
I did,
PlayStation Dominus or whatever? What is the highest version of that called? Premium, right? Something like that.
I'm not at the very highest, but yeah, I'm at the like whatever the level is where. So I got I was able to play the Time Splitters games. I played those a little bit this week.
Oh yeah, no, I'm you're at the highest then because I had to be at the highest to get the Time Splitters ones. Whatever the premium.
I didn't know there were tiers like that.
No, there's definitely a higher one.
There's like no. Well, I mean,
there's one where you get like all the classic games too.
Well,
not at that level,
unless they changed it. Because when I played Time Splitters, I played Premium, which was the highest level of PlayStation Plus, and that's where those were. And they were only on the highest ones, and they were $10.
They're telling me that they were trying to talk me into upgrading one more level, and I didn't. So
okay, well, I don't know yet. I'm just saying when they came out, they were at the highest level. They were PlayStation Premium because that's what I had for a month, and then I got rid of it because it was $20 a month, and I don't want to pay that.
Whatever it was, they had like a Black Friday sale on like adding the premium, because I just had the regular one, and then I upped it to premium for something like I think it was less than $30, and it was for like the next 11 months or something.
Yeah, I did. It was prorated when I did it, so I was able to upgrade for like. I don't know, $5 or something like that, but that was because I was halfway through the.
But this covers me for the whole year, so
yeah, it was just for a month. Yeah,
I'll keep having games served up to me on the PlayStation, which is nice. Yeah, so Plucky Squire, I played a little bit of that, and it's basically it's less a game, I think, than it is just a interactive storybook. Really,
that's unfortunate because I mean, I think I'm not alone when I say that I was really anticipating Plucky Square and like. From the previews,
a lot of people were.
I mean, it has actual like battles.
An A+ game.
I mean, you're actually like swiping at things with your sword, and I think there's like boss battles and stuff, but nothing's been terribly challenging. I guess I'm playing at the normal level, whatever the default level is. But I don't know. I just haven't found it all that fun. Like,
that's unfortunate.
It's compelling. It looks really nice. I'm gonna try playing it a little bit more.
It's all flash, no cash.
I don't know if it's no cash, but you got to remember I've also been playing a lot of games, so it's like kind of getting lost in the sludge of everything in my brain. Mm-hmm. So I got to go back to it and refresh myself on it. But I played it for like an hour, and I mean it was, obviously I didn't go back to it, so I'm going to though.
I mean it's free through the.
It's a really pretty game, like, and the whole effect of jumping out of the book and becoming 3D is really cool. And at one point, they like throw stuff out of the book. Well, you got to like take stuff from that real world and bring it into the book. That's kind of fun. The whole thing about switching the letters around on the ground, like where you're like, it'll be like the big guy is sitting here blocking you, and then you like pick up big and you replace it with the word small. That whole part's kind of stupid. I don't know that much.
Yeah,
it's really fiddly. You have to go like find the thingy and then carry it back, and it's literally just a word like. So it's not like a little ball or something that's easier to keep track of. It's literally just like this really spindly like font hanging in midair.
Maybe if it was more like Scribblenauts or something where the possibilities were a little bit more endless. But obviously, if you like take out big and you just become
or
small,
maybe just let you choose to change the words instead of having to walk and pick up a word and carry it over. Like turning it into something like an item you have to carry. That I think that's a big part of why I wasn't having fun. I was like, this isn't Death Stranding. This isn't a Strand type.
You're not trying to deliver shit to people and walk weirdly.
Although you do pluck strings, and it's Plucky Squire. Anyway, and then I don't know. I have to talk too much about the trading card game, but I got every badge or everything I could get. Really,
you're still playing it. I haven't.
I got the highest like achievements. Yeah, I got the highest achievement as far as like collected 220 individual different cards. I'm above that now, but I'm only missing like 15 or so to complete the deck. It's not very many at all. But they're probably gonna add more, so who knows? But yeah, and then I beat all the new. There's like a new event, and I beat all those thingies. Yeah, I still play it, but I play it a lot less. I just check in on it like once a day probably now. And then when they added the new challenge, that's when I played it a bit more. Let's see. Other than that, I did want to say, big game I beat this week. Echoes of Wisdom. I beat it already. Yes, that's true.
Guess who said you'd beat it by next time we talked? I did.
You did say that. Well, you had said originally you said next week, but
we did.
It turned out to be 2 weeks, but right around 2 weeks to beat it.
Well, I mean, we didn't record the next week, but I just thought I thought you would like it, and I thought you'd. I don't know. I thought you'd.
I liked it.
We all knew you'd be the first.
I thought you'd play it.
It was very a compelling game that I kept wanting to go back to, but was it good? I don't know. I want you guys to keep playing it and let me know more.
You're questioning whether it was good or whether it was great.
Great. So it was good. Okay, yes, it was good. That's fair. Like, there's nothing glaring, and there's only one thing I in the whole game. I only had to look one thing up. I only got stuck once where I had to look online, and I mean I haven't gotten everything, but I've beaten all the levels, and I've done all the little rifts on the map. I've gotten rid of all those, and I've unlocked the full map and all that crap.
So I haven't played much of that game, but I did beat the Link's Awakening. I think in the context of all the different Zelda games, I appreciated that the Link's Awakening remake was like a nice little game. It was wholly just like a good game, and I didn't need that game to be great. But I appreciate
this is better than that by far. Which is good.
Okay,
I definitely,
which is good because it should be.
I definitely like it better than that game, which I've said. Well, I mean, probably. Oh, if anybody doesn't have Patreon, they probably didn't hear it.
I mean, this game is just a full-on action game.
My own like
you can jump.
Yeah, my own.
You just have a jump button.
Link's Awakening because of the design of it, but this one is easier to play for that.
A good half of this game is side-scrolling because you keep going back to the side-scrolling section. So, but it's just a lot more fleshed out. The camera's pulled in more on certain sections. They do stuff with the camera angles. I think it's more compelling than the way it was in Link's Awakening. So, I guess their engine, they improved upon everything they did with it, with this game running on that engine. But just ultimately, yeah, was it, after playing, these heavy hitters like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, yeah, especially Tears of the Kingdom, it's like, this kind of has a little bit of that appeal. But it's almost like, back in the day when you had the Game Boy version. It's a bit like that. It's like the Game Boy version of Breath of the Wild, maybe a little bit, but not really.
I think like had another Tears of the Kingdom equivalent come out right now, so soon after Tears, I think I would have been like, back off. You know what I mean? Like I think maybe this is kind of, having not played as much of the game as either of you, I suspect that maybe this is like, I don't know, it's like the Zelda that I didn't know I needed. A good enough.
It's a bonus Zelda.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
So you beat the game, Jeremy. So you do like the 3 dungeons, and then you go to the castle, and then it's like, and then they're like, oh yeah, no, it's fine. You don't have to hide anymore, and you take your hood off. And then there's like 4 other castles after that. Is that the end, or is there more after that, or is that spoilers?
So it's not spoilers. So the last one I did was the mountain one. Mount Lanayru.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? Like you go and you do like 3 of them, and then then you go back to the castle, you talk to the king, and then you get like 4 more, That's it,
I think
right?
it's something like that, 4 or 5 more.
Okay, because I was going to say, if that's what's left, then I only have one dungeon left. And then because I've played it for like 25 hours or 30 hours or something like that. So
You're probably really close to it.
I thought I thought I was pretty close. I thought I only had one dungeon left.
Yeah, I was a little, it goes really fast after that last dungeon, I will say. Like, maybe you could like take a break and come back to it, finish it in like less than an hour after that last dungeon. But
I did take
I don't know.
I haven't played in like 3 weeks, but yeah, no, I took a break because
I powered through it. I wouldn't have powered through it if I wasn't trying to,
sure,
be done with it by the podcast.
I like playing it with Jess, and we hadn't had time to play it together. We were going to play
that's way better.
We were going to play it together on Thanksgiving, but we both got really drunk, so we didn't get around to it. We drank a whole bottle of whiskey with both of us, and it was, we had way too much. But it was fun because we didn't have to go see family members. So we stayed at home and ate crab legs and drank Bloody Marys and watched football. So it was fun.
That's a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Crab legs are much better than turkey. Fuck turkey.
Were they Bloody Marys with whiskey, or was that other booze?
No, I make my Bloody Marys with, well, you should make your Bloody Marys with vodka. I make them with you basically, you make your Bloody Mary with a sidecar. So you make the Bloody Mary and then you have a shot of whiskey with it. So
okay.
That's how we do
it. I can say on the record, Trey makes a great Bloody Mary.
Yeah, I was happy to make those Bloody Marys for you, John. I like making Bloody Marys for people. So come.
I didn't know that I liked
them.
I knew I'd had them before, but you put me in the category of I like Bloody Marys.
I went to a brunch a couple weeks ago, and the Bloody Mary wasn't that good. I will say
for
being like a $7 drink,
sure,
I was expecting a little bit more.
I mean, there's a bunch of different mixers that people use. Like, honestly, I never really gave a shit about Bloody Marys either. The whole reason I did it is when I worked at the Beechwood, they would give out free bottles of liquor every year for Christmas, and it was basically like random extra shit that they would get for every liquor delivery. And I ended up getting what was it? Cilantro. I got cilantro flavored vodka. And I was like, what do you do with cilantro flavored vodka? And I was like, oh, I can make Bloody Marys. And then I made Bloody Marys for Jess, and that was the end of it. And then we loved Bloody Marys, and we drank them a lot. And my dad was huge into Bloody Marys, and I I was not a huge tomato person actually until after.
I never liked V8. I thought V8
until after he passed and all that, which is unfortunate. I never really got to have a Bloody Mary with him, but he was big into making them. He'd make them with with beef broth. He'd make it with beef broth, that sort of thing. So he had his own thing about it. I mean, I don't know. Apparently, I heard my sisters liked it, but whatever.
You told me that it was like drinking your dinner, and that's totally true.
Yeah, like I said, it depends on how you make it. Because I've bought ones from restaurants that are so, but also I think a lot of it has to do with what tomato stuff. I like using the clamato, like the tomato clam stuff. I think that's actually better than like Zing Zang or V8 or whatever the fuck you're using, and I make mine with like pickle juice and like Worcestershire, which most people would do that as well. But I think pickle juice actually really adds some extra stuff to it. But yeah, I don't know. It varies on how you want to do it. But I brought a bunch. I did go to my mom's house before Thanksgiving and did get to make some Bloody Marys for some people there. And, that's always fun for me. It's nice to be able to make a drink for somebody and be like, here, try this. And somebody can be like, hey, that's a good Bloody Mary. So, but yeah, we had 3 or 4 of those, and we had a whole bunch of shots of whiskey and a whole lot of beer. And let's put it this way: I basically, I remember I laid down for a second. I poured a whole drink for myself, like a rum and tea, and then I woke up like 6 hours later with that whole drink still sitting next to me, completely full. So I never drank any of it, because I just fell asleep, which is probably better. But yeah, we had a bunch of drinks then. I don't even know why we got on the subject, but Bloody Marys are good.
Oh, because we were talking about Echoes of Wisdom, but
yeah, we didn't get around to it because we got too drunk.
But anyway, I mean, I don't need to talk too much more about what I did. But you like it, right? I mean, obviously, we don't want to spoil anything for the Game of the Year stuff. I guess there is one more thing, but yeah, I really do like Echoes of Wisdom. It'll probably be in my list. I'm glad I was able to play it. Consider it. I really need to kind of get my bearings on what all came out this year. And I know I'm going to have a little bit of a blind spot, but I'm trying to catch up. The one last thing was just that I talked about it a little more last year, the year before, but We did the mustache contest again, and
Yeah.
Shauna got second place.
It was unavailable again on YouTube.
Yeah,
which
I've got
I figured
it.
it
I'll have
wasn't.
to figure out a way to send
No,
it to you.
I just thought it was funny. Yeah, you put the post up and it didn't work, and I figured I was trying to. I figured it was. I was trying to figure it out because I remember last year you came here for your birthday, but the mustache competition had already happened, and you played it on our TV downstairs after the Jer show, and I figured if it hadn't happened already, it was going to happen soon. You know, I didn't know what day it was, but I knew it was coming up.
Yep. So it happened, and I don't know. I didn't feel like my character was quite as inspired this year. I was
Biloxi?
well, that's my name. Biloxi is the name of my character. Like it's just my like nickname. But
For the uninitiated, maybe explain what the mustache contest is and what do you do for the mustache contest?
I'm not sure when it started, but I think it was actually like they were like the people that started it in like the late 90s here in town had gone somewhere else where they like, you know, where they were bar hopping or something one night, and they ended up at a mustache contest somewhere. And I guess they just kind of stole the idea. So I don't know what like I think they changed it and made it like more specific to the downtown frat, as they call themselves. But anyway, so the mustache contest is just basically like a beauty pageant and improv kind of experience, and it's really fun. I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be improv, but there's going to be some involved no matter what, because the host is going to be trying to play off of your character and stuff. And so there's like an MC. The MC is whoever won the contest the previous year.
Is it really about the mustaches,
No,
or
It's about impressing the judges. More in this case, making them laugh. Usually,
I don't think it's about the mustache. I mean, from what I gathered from it, it seemed like a kind of like a costume contest, like that sort of thing.
This mustache
like
would not win any awards if it was just about the mustache.
Yeah, and it's not even.
By the way, I didn't win, but
and it's not even like, you know, all people who can't grow mustaches or whatever. Like anybody can compete. I thought
Right.
a lot of it was about like, yeah, performance and like, you know, whatever your, you know, like what your theme is and like all,
Yeah.
and then that's the sort of thing. That's what it seemed like to me, is like this character that you create. It is like a cosplay sort of thing, like that sort of thing, but you create your own thing. And,
yeah, you can create your own thing. Well, last year Shauna was Wario, you know, so you could just straight up cosplay.
Waluigi.
Or Waluigi, yeah. But I was this year I was like, what did I call myself?
Because you did the mustard one last year, and you got
I was
second
Must
place,
2000,
and you were very proud of the mustard.
Yeah, the
thing.
mustard one was the best one.
Yeah.
This year I was basically playing off the Terminator, and I came back and mustaches were illegal in the future, and I did like for my talent I sang a song about mustaches being illegal in the future, and
Okay.
it was really dumb, but it was funny. It was really funny. Yeah, I'll have to figure out a way to get y'all to hear it. What I did was there's this post-rock band called Maserati,
Yep.
and I just took one of their songs and put lyrics over it. It actually worked out really well.
Isn't that a car too?
It is a car, yes.
This is a
I think
Maserati.
so. It was
Can't you drive
185.
that? Yeah.
I think a Maserati is actually probably some kind of thing in the animal kingdom somewhere, because most cars are named after
Sure.
animals.
There was a Bob's Burgers episode,
Especially
about,
the
like that too,
Ford
right? Where
F-150.
there's the one where he like loses his mustache, but he gets like the RoboCop mustache. It just reminded me of that one. There's the one with where it has the 3 stories, and it's like because Linda met him because she got her hand stuck in his mustache or whatever, and they make these different stories about if he didn't have a mustache. And one of them, he like dies, but he gets rebirthed as a RoboCop mustache. It just reminded me of that.
That's kind of like the Treehouse of Horror kind of thing.
Yeah. They do a bunch of those, but they're not necessarily Halloween themed.
Yeah, it was a good time. Shauna's character was way better though. Shauna was John Milton, author of Paradise Lost.
Yeah, you said it had to do with Paradise. You said that, I think, in the expansion pack episode.
Uh-huh.
You said it either that one or last week's.
Okay, yeah, well, it went over really well, and she got second place. The person who got first was just crazy complicated, like in a good way, like lots and lots of planning.
It wasn't
routine, so they definitely deserved to win.
It wasn't Trevor again because he was hosting. Right?
No, Trevor was hosting
or judging.
Trevor's just really funny. That's why Trevor won last year. Trevor was, as a host, was really funny too, even though he was trying to play it a little straight. You could tell it's hard for him.
Sure.
But no, I had a good time. It was fun.
Yeah, no, I knew it was coming up, and I didn't know when.
Maybe we'll get that footage up at some point if I can figure out a way to bypass the shit, which I never did last time, so I don't know why I would this time.
I mean, you can always like Google Drive it or something and just share it with us or something like that.
That's true.
Like that'd probably be easier instead of trying to upload it. Because yet, I mean, there's so much copyright music that plays that there's no way it's going to fly on YouTube. You know,
So much copyright music because it's like an actual DJ performing, like
I mean,
or, doing that between stuff.
Well, it's
too.
like or it's like recording a bar. Like everything that you hear is copyright. There's not. I wouldn't think that anything would actually work on YouTube or whatever. So but cool. Do you want to? Is that if you're good, Jeremy? Do you want to talk about whatever you have, John, and then we'll take a break?
Sure. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot. Basically, number one is I went back to Tears of the Kingdom, and I'm making no promises. I'm not saying I'm going to beat it in such time or whatever, but just know that I'm back at it. And what I did in the last couple of days was I mentioned before on the show I like to hunt for the bubble frogs. I think that's fun. I've got a good method for it, which is I look for the bloopies first, and then the bloopies usually lead you to the bubble frogs.
Sure.
And then I sort of pair that with marking the map with basically the radius of the bullfrog detection. So like, you set your sensor to bullfrog and then it'll go boop, 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 boop when you're near one. And I've just started like walking around, finding exactly the point all around where the bullfrog will be detected. Right. And try to pinpoint where the entrance to the cave actually is, because they're all hidden in caves and stuff. And so my map currently is littered with a couple of spots where there's just like circles. I've been using the treasure icon, where there's just like circles of treasure icons, not perfect circles necessarily, but just general wobbly looking circles. So I decided I'm going to go like to each of those where I've got those kind of pinpointed, and maybe there was like 4 or 5 of them, and I'm going to finally determine where those bullfrogs are. That was sort of my mission for getting back into the game, because if you just like get back into a game after a while, cold without any sort of strategy to it, and I don't think it necessarily sticks. That was my strategy. I'm gonna look for those bullfrogs that are sort of mapped out and figure out where they are. And the one that sort of vexed me the most was by the ancient ruins. There's a spot on the map called Ancient Ruins, which is to the west. I think it's like a little bit southwest. I'd been there. I'd probably spent a total of, over the last couple of months, checking in here or there, probably spent a total of 4 hours trying to search out this one stupid bullfrog, which just would not reveal itself to me. And so I said, I'm going to go for that one first to just kick things off. And I spent another 45 minutes or so. And I've really kind of prided myself on, so far in Tears of the Kingdom, and I say so far in my near 450th hour, I think, not looking things up. I think it's so much more rewarding to beat your head against the wall and try and figure things out for yourself. And I've not looked up very much, but this was one of those times where I'm just like, I'm done with this. I can't figure this out. And surely when I figure out how this, where this thing is, surely this is going to be one of those moments where it's like, okay, that was a rare flub on their part where they just made it a little bit too obtuse. And I looked it up, and sure enough, it was one of those cases where to open this cave, you had to stand on a random pillar. There's a switch atop a random pillar, because I said it was the ancient ruins, so there's like pillars all over. And they expected you to find this one random pillar and stand on it and hit a button which would open the cave. And there was zero clue to say that you have to stand on this one pillar. So I felt justified in looking it up finally, after like 6 hours total of looking for this one stupid bullfrog. So I stood on the button, the cave opened up. There's like a piece of flat cement on the ground, which looks a little bit suspicious, which I had tried every which way to open. I tried um, making the lightning strike, putting a sword down and using what's her name's ability to strike lightning and all that. And I tried every which way to open it, but you just had to hit the switch and then you jump in the cave and get the bullfrog. So finally I did that. And I was like, okay, I feel justified in having looked that one up because I think that was like one little thing that was just a little bit too off in the weeds. And then after that, I looked up a couple, or I didn't look up, but I went to a couple more of those spots and I was able to find a couple more bullfrogs. And I feel like I'm back into it for now. So yeah, again, no promises, but I feel the itch to keep playing.
Well, I mean, you have Echoes of Wisdom as well. And I remember you like bought it like straight out, like full price. And you're like, you said you didn't want to play it because you felt the need to do Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah.
So I was hoping you'd get back to it. I'm just saying you said that. And then some weeks and months and years passed. And then now you're finally back to it. So.
Here I am back to it. Yeah. That's the other thing. Jeremy mentioned Pentiment, and that was the same thing. It's just like, I want to get to Pentiment, but I want to beat Tears of the Kingdom first. There's so many games piling up on my Switch. It's just like, I've got this one game that I'm 450 hours in and haven't finished. And I would like to like squeeze that game dry. I want to get every little drop out of Tears of the Kingdom. I want to find every bullfrog. I want to find every costume. I want to find all the stupid Koroks and get the golden poop or whatever.
Oh, well, I mean, I think you'll get some years out of that game then if you're trying to squeeze everything out of it, because there's a lot to be squeezed in there. That's for sure.
Yeah. Maybe I won't get everything, but I at least want to get like all the costumes, and I think I'm nearing all the bullfrogs at this point.
Sure.
And then I'll go beat the game, and then I can move on and try other games. So
then you can play Echoes of Wisdom.
I can play Echoes of Wisdom. Yeah,
it's a good game. You got it. Play it.
Yeah, I'll enjoy it. I felt myself getting into Echoes a little too much to where it was like, oh, I'm gonna never beat Tears of the Kingdom, so I have to set this aside. So hopefully soon. And I know that Pentiment came out earlier this year, and like, if I don't get to like trying that a little bit more, I risk not putting it on my Game of the Year list. And I suspect that it could be a Game of the Year contender.
Needs to be on the list. There's another one on your system that should be a Game of the Year one also.
Which one?
Little game called Yakuza Kiwami. Should go back to that.
Yakuza, yeah, true. I got to get into Yakuza.
Go back to that game.
I think that would be a good game too.
I know it might be a little bit like too much story at the top, but just
I'll stick with it.
Like I said, just explore the area. Like, don't you'll see the little pink points on the map. Try to do other things. Go to the karaoke bars. Go to the go to all the different bars, and try to find like I said, that weird clown guy that you meet. Find the Trouble Finder or something like that, where you can find all the side quests. Like, just do that and go see what you think of that. And don't be too scared by the battle system. It's really pretty simple. You kind of just press one button. It's like X, Y, X, X.
Yeah, it seems simple enough. And I like the fighting style. I mean, I like, among the, pantheon of fighting games, I like the Virtua Fighter fighting style, which this, I think, subscribes to.
Yeah. It
just feels right to me.
Possibly so. I mean, what was it? Yakuza 6 had a Virtua Fighter in its entirety in the game. I think it was like Virtua Fighter 4. It was one of the newer ones. It was like the PS3 Virtua Fighter was like in its entirety in the arcade in like Yakuza 6, which I was like, holy fuck, that's amazing. So, I mean, it's done. That could be very well be because they put the whole game in there.
So meta.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they like to, they like to put Sega games in there, even though I don't think
Of course.
I don't think in Kiwami there are any Sega games in there, which is unfortunate, but I know Zero has because Zero is supposed to be a prequel. It has Outrunner in there, and it also has Super Hang-On as well, because it was like the earlier Sega stuff. But yeah, in the later games they did put more Sega, and like Yakuza 6 was the first official PlayStation 4 game, so they're like, oh wait, let's flex our muscles and put an entire PS3 game in here also, to be like, here's all the things we can do with it, because we had all these other. Because, Zero and Kiwami, they came out on PS4 here, but these were actually PS3 games in Japan. But the actual one that actually used the technology of PS4 was 6. Whatever. Yeah, I know. No, nobody cares. But, yeah, that's why they put an entire PS3 game in there. But we'll talk more about that We can talk more about that after the break. If you're good on your Tears of the Kingdom, we can.
Sure. I want to mention one more thing, which is I find myself kind of a little bit excited for the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie because I did like the number 2. I thought that was a pretty solid movie.
I'm a little pumped for it too. And actually, well,
yeah.
I don't know that much about. I'm not going to the theater to see it just because know I'm kind of a little broke right now, and I'm not gonna go see it in the theater. But I did see. I've been seeing a lot of the trailers like through like various social media stuff or whatever, and I've seen no sign of what's his face, James Marsden or whatever the other actor. I've only just seen Sonic and the 2 Eggmen and all that. So maybe the one dude won't be in it as much. I mean, it seems like it's. I mean, we got Shadow, we got Knuckles, we got Sonic, we got Tails, we got the 2 Robotniks. Like, I feel like there's no room. There's no room for the other shit, right? We're just gonna have the good stuff and just push the dude to the side. We don't need him. Like we've been working to this, right? Yeah.
I mean, they were on the right trajectory from the second movie. I think they did a decent job. Having started off, I think on a misstep with number 1, forcing this other character into the story. It was like number 2 did the best they could by just setting him on a Hawaiian vacation and okay, let's actually spend some time with some characters that we like and make them the main characters for the first time.
Yeah, that was my favorite parts of 2 was like when we could actually be like, all right, we got no like human actor. Well, we got Jim Carrey in there, but that's good. But it's like
good.
But I liked about 2 is where it's like, all right, well, we have enough of real Sonic characters. When you see like Sonic and Knuckles and Tails in the screen together and you don't see whoever else, I'm like, all right, no, we're getting there, so maybe
now they can like bounce off each other
yeah.
as it should have been from movie number 1,
sure.
The Sonic characters. So number 2 was a good movie, and I like the possibilities of throwing Sonic Shadow into the mix, and Keanu Reeves is great casting as Shadow, I think, and I'm finding myself excited.
He's getting a gun. He's
got a gun, in the trailer. He has a gun, confirmed.
Yeah.
So I mean, they're giving us all these little morsels to show, like, okay, they know what the fans want. I mean, they had the freaking Chow in the trailer, or Kao, or however you say that.
I guess
those little characters that were.
I always call them Chow, but that was just
Chow.
That was in my own mind. Like I never heard it read to me.
I think it's a play on Chaos Emeralds.
It is, but they call them Chows though.
They call them Chow.
Oh sure, yeah. I guess that makes sense. I mean, I don't know. I've never heard anybody said it. I just know it from playing the Sonic Adventure games on GameCube. In my mind, I call them Chows, but I don't know.
So in anticipation of the movie, I was over at my sister's house and they have Paramount Plus. So I said, I'll put on the Knuckles show. I'll give that a look. And I watched.
Oh no!
I watched an episode and a half, and I'll say, like, in terms of quality, I think it's somewhere between movie number 1 and movie number 2.
Not a whole lot of Knuckles though, right? That's kind of what I heard. Like it's.
Like I mean, judging
it
from
is kind of too much
watching
humans.
Basically one episode.
Yeah.
The first episode, it seems like they just it seems like they start with Sonic and Tails, and then James Marsden's wife in the movie, Tika Sumpter is the actress, and then they seem to kind of just hand off the story to Knuckles, and it's basically Knuckles, and then I don't know if you remember the one kind of goofball cop in the movie.
Oh yeah, no,
Wade.
Well, I do. I do now that you reminded me.
It's like Knuckles and Wade are the stars of this show. So I mean, that's I don't know how I feel about the Wade guy or whatever. I mean, he's fine in the movie, but it's like I don't want to spend time with human characters. Come on, just like show just the Sonic characters. And, I don't know. So it's like okay, it's kind of more of the same. I think it's somewhere between number 1 and number 2 in terms of quality, but that's only going off of basically 1.5 episodes that I saw.
Sure.
So I don't know. I find myself still excited for number 3. We'll see.
I mean, you go to a lot of movies in the theater. Are you planning on going to it when it comes out?
I kind of feel like I want to see it in the theater.
No. I mean, Christmas is like my least favorite time of the year, because I'm always out of money, and there's not a whole lot of work, so. I'm definitely not going because, I mean, anybody who's listening to this podcast knows that when When Jess and I, when we go to a theater, we like to go all out and go to Alamo and get all the drinks.
Go to the Alamo,
and
sure, get the drinks and all that. Yep.
And yeah, I don't see I don't see us going to see any. Well, even if it wasn't that, I mean, movie tickets are like $20 or whatever each. They're not cheap, you know. So
yeah, I mean, I live in.
I don't see myself going.
Not
anytime.
in the city, so.
But I do have Paramount Plus, so they might put it on there sooner than later. So you know, I'll watch it later. But I'm not going. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to the theater. I'm trying to figure out, trying to stretch things to get gifts for everybody and all that shit.
Then, since we mentioned the Sonic 3 movie, there was some news around that, which Paramount created a new Genesis cart to promote the movie. So I think it's kind of cool. They made a Genesis cart. It's not a full-fledged game. Basically, it just has trailers and posters and stuff on it. And there's a little bit of interactivity here and there. It's like a small, basically like the equivalent of like a web game or something like that. And then they sent it out to some influencers, including Nathan Barnett, who is better known as Keith Apicary, and they sent it out in a basically like a Sonic item box, the box that he jumps on to get his items and all that. So I thought that was pretty cool. I don't know, it seems like they're trying to appease the fans with this one, and I think the Sonic popcorn bucket looks kind of cool. I'm maybe kind of considering getting it because I have the Mario question mark bucket.
He's got a flip top
AMC.
head. Yeah, my Mario bucket's over there somewhere. I think the thing is sitting in it.
Yeah, I think maybe
It's
I'm considering getting that to just sit next to the Mario
I
question
still
mark.
regret not getting a Glinda drink holder.
A what?
When I saw Wicked.
Oh yeah, you guys did go see.
There's
Wicked.
still time. Just click your heels and go back to the theater. But yeah, that's it for me.
Okay, well, let's take a break and then we'll come back and talk about more.
Break
shit.
time. Hey, you.
It's me, Mario.
Yeah, you. Subscribe to our Patreon to hear our bonus shows, which happen every month.
I'm tired.
Tired of all the big corporate podcasts spoon-feeding you the same old video game news on every single show?
Spaghetti. Ravioli.
Then expand!
With NintenDomain Expansion Pack.
It's us talking about old games that were important to us. It's us interviewing people that we meet at conventions. And heck, it's live shows from those same conventions. It's basically everything you could want that NintenDomain ever made.
Here we go! And it's just $1 a month.
That's less than a bad indie on the eShop.
It's $12 a year, which is less than Nintendo Switch Online.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our Patreon and supporting NintenDomain.
Just go to patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast and hey, Mario, let go. Whoa! He's throwing us back to the show.
So long, Bowser.
Patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast.
Game over.
right, we're back from the break. I think I'm the only one that hasn't said anything yet about games. I mean, I did say a lot earlier about whatever, but these are the games that I got. Like I said, Black Friday, lots of deals. Since we took a week off, I had too much time to play things, so I have a lot of shit in here. There's some stuff that happened between. Did we ever talk about Donkey Kong Land being on Game Boy? Like, did we actually talk about that on
Maybe
the
we talked
podcast?
about number 1, but I mean, we got all 3 on there now.
Well, I don't know if we necessarily talked about 1. I don't know. Everything is a blur. But anyway, Donkey Kong Land 1. I love this game. If you listen to our Patreon, patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast, we did actually do our favorite Game Boy games, and Donkey Kong Land is on there for me. And I beat it. I played through it all the way to credits on the Nintendo Switch Online because I like that game a lot.
Wow.
It's I like it. Well, I mean, I played it as I've mentioned it before. I'm sure I used to play it on Super Game Boy in picture-in-picture while I was watching Mad TV. There's a 100% gives you the timing of that.
Yeah.
You know, it was 94. I was just thinking about it. Like we were in a crazy time, like where. You know, we were in the ultimate Donkey Kong Country time because we had Donkey Kong 1, 2, and 3, which all came out like year after year. So there was, we were at the 30-year anniversary like a couple weeks ago of Donkey Kong Country 1 in like 94, and then Donkey Kong Country 2 came out in 95, and then 3 came out in 96. But in between, like 5 or 6 months in between, we had the Game Boy versions also. Like, what a fucking time to be alive. Like, that's like Donkey Kong heaven there. Like, we had like 6 Donkey Kongs like within 3 years. Like, and I was thinking about that. It's like, I don't know. The years felt so long to me. Like, the time between like Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2 didn't feel like a year. I mean, I guess, whatever. I was like 14. But I felt like that was a long-ass time. And then when 3 came out, I felt like that had been like 10 years. And I'm like, oh, I'm done with Donkey Kong. I'm on Mario 64 now, because I had jumped to 64 at that time, because it came out after the 64 had launched. And I didn't realize how close they were to each other. And it's pretty amazing to see, like the fully rendered graphics and how much of a big deal it was at the time. And a lot of us were like very impressed by it. But also that mixed with the Game Boy ones. And it was just like...
Which looked pretty great on the Game Boy. Like,
yeah, one after another after
Game
another.
Boy just as much as the Super Nintendo did. Super Nintendo one.
And I've always been a pusher of Donkey Kong Land 1. I think Donkey Kong Land 1 is the true Donkey Kong Country 2. And don't get me wrong, I love Donkey Kong Country 2. But this is actual... It's not like a smaller version of the original Donkey Kong. It's actually a different game. Like, it has, like the ship battles that you will see in Donkey Kong Country 2 are in Donkey Kong Land. Like, you see, and you do the climbing where you can go from one rope to another, which was in the original Donkey Kong arcade games, but that was the first time you saw it at this time. And there's even, like, the final set of levels is on skyscrapers above buildings. Like, it actually feels like a sequel to the original Donkey Kong arcade game. And there's actually, there's enemies in Donkey Kong Land that only exist in Donkey Kong Land. You never see them in any of the Super Nintendo games.
Yeah.
And David Wise is still on the soundtrack, and there's new songs. Like, it's not just like Game Boy versions of the songs from the Super Nintendo game. I'm just saying, Donkey Kong Land, don't sleep on that game. It's fucking great. I played it through to the end. I got like 96%. I fucking love it. I think that game's awesome. It's shorter. It's like 4 level sets or whatever, but And it feels a little bit different if you're used to playing it on the Super Nintendo, but they still did really well. And the characters, they have sort of that fully rendered, but it doesn't.
To them, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It has the
all the more
dimensionality
impressive
to
on the
it.
Game Boy.
Yeah,
A lot of frames of animation.
yeah. It looks great, and there's, like I said, the levels, and you play Donkey Kong Land 2 and 3, and they do feel like smaller versions of 2 and 3. But 1 actually feels like its own game. Like it sets itself apart. So I will always...
Let's not forget, in the midst of all this, we also got Donkey Kong 94. So yeah, what a time to be a Donkey Kong fan.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I guess we would, though. Did we? I thought that was later. I mean, I guess I didn't
get
it.
Donkey Kong 94 was 94.
Sure,
then,
yeah. Well, I didn't get it until I was in college, so I didn't get it until like 99 or 2000. So I got Donkey Kong Land, I guess, in 94, because that's when it came out, and I loved that game. I wish I still have not been able to find my my Super Game Boy cartridge, because I would love to, to play it on the TV back here, just to be like, oh, look at it, because it looked so much better on Super Game Boy. It had, I mean, there is if you play it on your if you play it on your Nintendo Switch Online with the game, because there's like 3 different options, right? You can play the green one, you can play the black and white one, or you can play the Game Boy Color one. And the Game Boy Color one, there is some more color to it, where you can see like Donkey Kong's tie, and that sort of thing, and the characters kind of pop out. But if you played the Super Game Boy one, there was more color to it. Like this opening screen that's on the TV right here, they actually had all the different colors for all the different characters, and it had the fully rendered the vines on the side that you would have seen from like Donkey Kong Country and all that. So anyway,
and then according to Game Explain, the game that released recently, number 3, if you play the Japanese version, apparently that is the only one that was ever released.
You got it right here.
There you go, right behind you.
Right behind me. Yeah, I downloaded it last night when I saw that video. Yeah.
So it's a Game Boy Color version of Donkey Kong Land 3.
Yeah. So Donkey Kong Land 3 apparently only had a Game Boy Color version in Japan. So if you want to play it in color, you have to download it on the Japanese Nintendo Switch Online app, and you can play it in full color for Donkey Kong 3. And it looks
that's kind of cool.
It looks pretty good. It's all in Japanese, of course, but use your Google Translate, and you can do it like that. And I watched the whole Game Explain video, and they showed there are like some things like the maps aren't animated, and there's like some of the characters that aren't animated, but they're in full color. So you lose some things, but you get full color for it. But it's interesting to check it out. I mean, we all have we did that way back when, where you start your Japanese a Nintendo account, and then you get then you get the NSO one, so you can get all the different games. And actually I played it a little bit last night. Like I said, it's too. I played some of Donkey Kong Land 2. It's just too close to the regular Super Nintendo games. Like I said, Donkey Kong Land 1 is different enough that it feels like the first level is kind of like it, but it never is like the exact same thing. Even the map looks different, and the different maps you go to look different and all that. So I don't know. I feel like it set itself apart, and then the other ones were too close to their Super Nintendo counterparts. But I'm glad they're all on there. Good for them. I know you played it for a second, probably, Jeremy, right? Didn't you try?
Yeah,
out
I'm at
Donkey
the
Kong Land
second
for a
set of
second?
levels on
Okay.
it. So I beat the first boss and all that.
What did you think of it? I know you don't got the nostalgia on there that I do.
I mean, it looks really good for what it is. I think it's kind of tough. Like, it doesn't feel quite as smooth to me, but
yeah, I was
I
saying
haven't played as much.
It doesn't have the same rhythm as the Super Nintendo per se, but it's about as close as I think you could have gotten on Game Boy at the time, And like I said, I've always liked that game a lot, and it's cool that people can play it now if you have.
I liked when Rambi showed up. I was like, oh, I forgot they had the animals in here too. So
they're in there.
Rambi looks great.
Yeah, the flutter bird guy is in there too with the espresso. The guy with the shoes. It's in the shoes, like that guy. He's there. But yeah, it's cool, and they have underwater levels that mimic the one on the Super Nintendo one, but they also have different ones as well. And there's like that one. There's this like squid, or no, it's not a squid. It's like they have the one with the shell with the tentacles that chases you, like that wasn't in the Super Nintendo one. That's specific to the Game Boy game, and it's not in the other ones. Anyway, it's got all the cool shit in there, so check it out if you have it. But yeah, I beat that. That's one of my beats of the week. I got like 3 on here or something. Dragon Quest 3. I was playing that at the beginning of 2 weeks ago. I think last week I said that I hadn't done any of the monster battles. I started getting into all the monster battles. I got through a lot of them. I think I'm at like 4 or 5, something like that.
Are they fun?
Yeah, no, they're fun. You can't actually. I think last week I said, or last episode, I think I said that you could control your characters. You can't necessarily control what they do. You can just like, there's different things you can choose about the way they'll react, like that sort of thing.
Okay.
You'll be like, focus on healing, or just fight, or just do this. Like there's different, but you don't actually pick your specific like, attacks that you do and all that sort of thing. So, but I did actually get through a lot of them. I did die a couple times. I thought about making a joke at the beginning, being like, I got TikTok on my Switch. I've never, I don't have that app, but I learned there's a spell that you can learn in Dragon Quest 3 called TikTok, which is actually super beneficial because I mentioned before about how some monsters you can only find at certain times of day. Basically, TikTok is a spell where you can change the times of day
Oh,
to
okay.
whatever you want, which is fucking awesome. I didn't know it existed in there. I was like, yeah. So if you go to a place and they're like, oh, the monster isn't here yet, you have to wait till like dusk or dawn or whatever. But
Was that in the original Dragon Quest 3?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe. I was thinking maybe not, but I don't know. Well, I mean, the original Dragon Quest 3 did have the times of day, but you didn't have the monster collecting and all that. That's all brand new to the remake. So that was not in there. But yeah, no, I mean it's still great. I got two cat suits from doing the monster tournament stuff, and the cat suits, they basically turn your character into a giant cat, and it's pretty adorable. A giant cat with a big collar with a big bell on it. It's pretty cute. And you can get 4 of them, and you can turn your entire party into cats if you want to. I just got Rar.
So they're not like cat suits; they look like actual cats.
It's basically a suit of armor, but it changes your sprite into a walking cat.
Okay.
I don't know. It's a Japanese game. It's fun. Whatever. I saw these online, all these cat suits, and I was like, where are the cat suits at? And I didn't look them up, and then I found 2 of them, and I'm like, all right, cool, I got 2. But apparently you can get 4 of them, and you can make your whole party all cats. And
that's cool.
It's cool. It's fun. I got Ra's Mirror. That's the thing that makes... the Ra's Mirror is basically if anybody is like shape-shifting into something that they aren't actually are, you can show them who they are. This actually will work for the monster collecting as well, and it's a part of the story. There's like a king that's been abducted, and there's like a zombie pretending to be a king. You have to get the mirror and show it to the king to be like, oh, you're not the king, and then tell everybody that. That's where that comes from. But the mirror you actually need to recruit various monsters who will pretend to be citizens in towns that you run into and all that stuff. So it's a thing that you get it, and then you go back. Then you have to go back to different places and use it. It's great. The game is still great. I hope you can. I mean, I would have bought it for your birthday, but I couldn't afford it. It was too expensive. But you should play it. I think it's very good. I like it a lot. I mean, no surprise, but it's a remake, but it's enough of a remake. I think it's gonna be on my Game of the Year list pretty high. So there you go.
Fair enough.
Last episode, I said that I would never buy another Yakuza game again until I beat the ones that I had. Apparently, I was lying because I did buy another Yakuza game in between this one and the last episode. So there was a Yakuza game called Yakuza. So the first time I heard about it, it was called Yakuza of the End, but I think it's actually called Yakuza Dead Souls in America. It's basically like, what if we made a Yakuza game? What if we made a Yakuza Resident Evil game where it's like Yakuza, but we shoot zombies? It wasn't reviewed very well, but I've always been super curious about it. And whenever I looked at every fucking used game place I've ever gone to, I always looked for that in the PlayStation 3 section, and I never found it anywhere. And I just for the fun of it, I looked on eBay and I was like, how much is this game if I wanted to order it? $100 for the American version, opened of Yakuza Dead Souls or whatever. And I'm like, fuck. And I was like, wait a second. Maybe I can find it online. And I actually found it on the PlayStation Shop, on the PlayStation Shop on PS3. And I was like, fuck, I'm getting this game. It's $20 on here. Great price. So I finally got Yakuza Dead Souls. And it's kind of hilarious. Yeah, it is like Yakuza. Let's play Yakuza, but let's fight zombies or whatever. And I think it came out after 4 because it has characters in there from 4. And you can shoot zombies, but the aiming's not great. It actually kind of reminds me of what was it? Not Ratchet and Clank. What's the other one? Jak 2, the one that I hated. Jak and Daxter 2 had really shitty aiming. Like you couldn't. It was trying to be Grand Theft Auto, but you couldn't aim, and there was like no checkpoints. It was just a fucking. It was such a chore to play, but it kind of reminds me of that game a little bit. I mean, this game's more fun because there's more checkpoints, but just the way that you can't aim at the zombies, they kind of like sort of auto aims, but not greatly. Kind of reminds me of like the way Jak 2 played on PS2 or whatever. But anyway, I got it. And weirdly enough, after I got it, so last time I tried to buy something on PlayStation 3, there was this whole like rigmarole I had to go through or whatever. This whole process I had to go through where I had to like delete my credit card off of the thing, and I had to buy a card on Amazon, and which you can actually buy PlayStation cards on Amazon, but not Switch ones digitally. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna have to go through all this shit again. So I bought the card on Amazon, and I put it on my account, and I was like, well, I'll try to buy it, but it's probably not gonna work. And I bought it, and it did work, Because last time I tried to buy something digitally, even with the money on there, I had to take my card off for it to work. But after I bought it, it was weird. I was trying to download it, and the Yakuza Dead Souls is like 20 gigs, and I had to clear a bunch of stuff off of the PS3 to get it on there. And I basically put it on my downloads, and I was looking through my downloads, and I'm finding all this stuff that I don't remember being on there. I'm seeing like a Hitman game on there, and like an old Prince of Persia, and all this other shit. And I'm like, wait a second. And it's like that Simpsons episode where Principal Skinner where Ralph shows up with all the Star Wars toys or whatever. He's like, here's all my friends, and all of a sudden all my PlayStation 3 PS Plus games showed up on there that were never available. So I'm like, there's Tomb Raider Underworld, the game I played like 10 years ago. Hey, you're here now, because it was gone. Like for a while they weren't available. And there's the what's it? It's not the I forget what it is. The one, it's not Warcraft, but the other thing. They just had a new game, a third-person shooter game on PS5 that came out that a lot of people liked. Warhammer. The Warhammer game on PS3 that I liked that was free on PS Plus, I actually looked for it and I couldn't find it. And I was like, well, I guess all my PS3, PS Plus stuff is gone now because it's been so long since I had PS Plus. But yeah, after I bought the Yakuza game, they just all showed up. And there's like 50 games that I played over the years of PlayStation 3. And PlayStation 3 was like that was probably the generation where I loved PlayStation the most, probably. Well, I love PS2 a lot, but PS3, I was listening to Podcast Beyond. Like I bought a PlayStation Portable. I was really into it, So that was probably the time I was the most into PlayStation. But it was just cool to see all this stuff. So I downloaded the Warhammer game. I downloaded the Tomb Raider game. That, like I said, there's a Hitman game on there too that I downloaded before, and I was like, holy shit! I thought these games were gone, and then they came back. So that's cool. I honestly thought nobody gave a shit about PS3 anymore, but I guess PlayStation does.
That'd be like finding a box
somewhat.
of your old games or something that you thought you lost.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how it was, but in digital form, right? So I was like, oh, I can re-download these. Cool. I thought they were gone because it was shit. This is like the beginning of PlayStation Plus, like when PlayStation Plus like first started. Like Just Cause 2 or whatever. Like these old games that were before whatever the Xbox thing is.
Xbox Live.
Well, Xbox Live, but when they were actually Game Pass, before Game Pass, the PlayStation Plus was the first thing to give you free games. Like Xbox Live didn't do that at the time. They were giving you full on new release games for free. So I don't know. That was a big deal back then. So it's like, oh hey, there they are. Let's see. As far as Black Friday stuff, I bought Mortal Kombat 1 Chaos Reigns. I got that shit, and it was a lot of fun. I got it for $20. Marked down from 40. So the fun thing about Mortal Kombat DLC is you actually get the story DLC, but you also get all the characters. And I think I saw you put this on the Slack, John. And I did want to mention it because there's been a rumor that this is the last of the MK1 DLC, and they're just moving on after this. Like they're done.
Right.
And and they're still going to release all the characters. Like they still have to release Conan the Barbarian and T-1000. Which they have not released yet. But they're on. If you start up the game, you can see their faces are on the character select screen. They're just not there yet, and they're gonna release them in the next few weeks or whatever. But Chaos Reigns was fun. I mean, it was a short DLC. I played through it in a night. I was thinking about getting it, and I was like, I'm just gonna go home. I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna play through it, and it's basically so they're bringing Sector and Cyrax in it, and Noob Saibot also in there. Which, if anybody doesn't know, Noob Saibot is Ed Boon, John Tobias' last names backwards. For anybody who doesn't know, I mean, I don't know. I thought maybe there's some people, I thought there were some MK noobs here, which noob, the term, happened after Noob Saibot was a character. Because Noob Saibot was like 94 or 5. I mean, that was an Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 character. Like, that was way, way back when. But I think it's funny that, that people say noobs, and I was like, oh, like Noob Saibot? But, yeah. Anyway, his character is a lot of fun to play. He does play a lot like the original Super Nintendo game. Like, he has those same moves where he can throw the shadow self at you and flip it back at you and do the uppercut and all that stuff, and it's fun. The single player was pretty good, and I mean, the Switch version got so much shit when it came out, but they've done a lot to it. I think it looks really good now. I mean, it's not going to look like a PS5 game or whatever, but when you're playing the single player game, the cutscenes and the actual footage don't look that much different. Like in the original one, it had occasionally would have like no textures, and it's all like, it's like smooth characters. I took a picture of it and put it on Twitter and all that. It looked pretty hilarious. But I was playing it this time, and I hadn't played Mortal Kombat 1 in a while. I don't think I played it since they added Homelander on there for the DLC. So it'd been a minute, and I was like, oh wait, this looks pretty good. And I was playing it earlier for the first half for the patrons, and I was like, yeah, this looks. I mean, it looks just as good as Mortal Kombat 11 did, and a lot of people praised how good that looked on Switch. I'm just saying unlike some other Switch ports like AEW Fight Forever, they actually did stuff to keep it going and make it continue to work and all that stuff. So there's that. But it's funny. There's a Johnny Cage Captain America character in there. I thought you might get a kick out of that, John. So the idea in Mortal Kombat 1 is basically Liu Kang becomes a god, and he reboots the entire he reboots Mortal Kombat, and he's like, all right, I'm going to switch everything out. I'm going to make sure that Shang Tsung does not become a villain. And he doesn't in this timeline, but they do, they basically do like the multiverse. So it's Mortal Kombat multiverse. So it's like, hold on. Here's Shang Tsung from another world coming in and fucking things up. So that's basically what happens here. Havoc, who is basically kind of a throwaway Mortal Kombat character. Havoc is like this. He's basically a fucking zombie. That's all he is. He's just a fucking walking zombie dude. I mean, he's a joke from the GameCube era of Mortal Kombat games. So he's like the villain now, and he's Titan Havoc. So he's like Shao Kahn level from like the original Super Nintendo ones, and he comes through the portal, and that's what it is. And so you get the new story, but you also get Sector and Cyrax, the robot ninjas who actually aren't robots. Now they're wearing Iron Man armor for whatever reason. And of course you get the fucking Iron Man shot of their face and the shit happening around them, which you see in everything now. You see that, and I was like, oh my god. And they're women now too, which whatever, that's cool. But they're part of the Lin Kuei, which I think that was from previous Mortal Kombats as well. Which Lin Kuei is the ninjas that Sub-Zero belongs to and all that. But yeah, they're all part of that. And Cyrax was fun to play. Cool thing, you can actually play new Cyrax with old Cyrax, so you can do the old web thing with the cameo characters. You can actually put the old Cyrax in there and do all that shit. But because it's from different multiverses, the Johnny Cage that you meet when you're fighting Havoc is he's like looks like War Army Johnny Cage. And he shows up and he's like, I was just punching Adolf Hitler in the face. And I'm like, oh, okay, you're fucking Captain America Johnny Cage. Like, obviously, they brought you in from the 40s. We're trying to do like the Johnny Cage Johnny Cage Marvel thing. And yeah. So it's like, so that's the idea of having the multiverse. It's like we can bring all these different versions of Mortal Kombat characters into it, which is cool. So whatever. But yeah, the DLC was pretty short, but it did kind of felt a little long because it was just like fight after fight after fight. But I mean, the story does look pretty cool. You get to play as Rain. He's like the Emperor and the other multiverse. And was it Tanya? Tanya was a fucking character from Mortal Kombat 4, which apparently people still like. And she was like a main character in Mortal Kombat 1 even. I was like, really? She's still around? Okay. But yeah, no, she had some shit happen to her and all that. But yeah, the idea is, you buy the DLC, you get all the extra characters with it, so it was worth it for $20 for me. And I haven't really played Mortal Kombat with the Hot 42 S16 and all that, so it was good to play it with the controller. I mean, I kind of fucked around with a little bit, but not when I really figured out how to do all the moves and all that. But my favorite thing about the Mortal Kombat DLC is motherfucking Ghostface. Like, Ghostface from Scream is fucking fun as hell to play. He's so much fun. As I said as my nickname earlier, Stab Trilogy. Stab Trilogy is one of the combos that you can do. And the names of the stuff you can do is kind of hilarious. Like, and so so Stab Trilogy is just pressing A 3 times. But
Okay.
if you go into the move list, it will actually say like, all right, so if you press A once, it's Stab. But if you press A twice, that's Stab the sequel. And if you press A 3 times, that's Stab Trilogy. So that's funny. Like I like that.
That's very funny.
I like that extra details. They do the same thing with there's like what is it? The same thing with X. You can press X 3 times for a combo, but X1 is rough cut, and X2 is director's cut, and X3 is final cut. So I mean, there's fun like little fun movie jokes and stuff in there.
I saw one fatality for Ghostface where it zooms out and it like Ghostface is stabbing the guy, but then it zooms out to show it's happening on a television, which Johnny Cage is watching. And then Johnny Cage says, "Oh, come on, it's just a guy with a knife." And then Ghostface comes up from behind him and slits Johnny Cage's throat. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah. That's the first fatality of Ghostface. It's called like I have it in the notes. It's a slashing the fourth wall is what it's called. But yeah, so you stab your character, and then it kind of like does. It looks like it kind of looks like a tube TV. It does like a little bit of the static and all that, and then it pans back, and yeah, it's Johnny Cage with the controller being like, "What the fuck, a guy with a knife?" And yeah, then he gets stabbed in the back from Ghostface. So yeah, that's a really fun one. I was listening to a fighting game podcast where they thought that maybe it'd be a different person every time, but it's always Johnny Cage, no matter who you're fighting with. And the other fatality
Makes sense. It's the movie guy.
Yeah, of course, yeah, because he's the actor. But the fun thing about Ghostface is it actually plays with it being multiple people also. Because in Scream, ever since the first one, it's been more than one person. I mean, the first one was Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich, so which if you do fatalities on them, you actually do see them without their mask on. Or if you beat the arcade mode, which I did last night with Ghostface, you get to see them without their mask on as well. And when I did it, it looked like Skeet Ulrich. So, or Skeet Ulrich. He sort of looks like Johnny Depp, but doesn't beat his wife, so he's better. That sort of thing. So, no, Skeet's good. He was in the new Archie show. He was Jughead's dad in Riverdale, but no, I like Skeet, but yeah, no, it's I was thinking about, I was like, do they have the voices in there? Probably not, because they're doing because it even shows when they do like where they go up against each other, he has like the voice changer like right next to his neck, so they're doing like, do you like scary movies? So it's not going to actually sound like the characters from the movie, the actual actors. So I think it's an impersonator, but it's pretty cool. Like I've been really into the Ghostface stuff. It's been a lot of fun, and yeah, the fatalities are silly. Like the second one, like I was saying, since you have two, there actually is a move that you can do that's kind of like it's sort of like Scorpion's teleport move. If you remember from the old Mortal Kombat's, Scorpion could teleport from one side of the screen to the other. You kind of do the same thing, except for the guy actually pulls like an old cell phone up, and it does the ring and the dial tone and all that, and you call the other Ghostface to show up on the other side of the screen and then stab the character from the back. It's pretty cool. Like I loved like all the attention to detail and how he'd make it look all old school and all that. And well, it's supposed to look like the cell phone that Drew Barrymore's holding in like Scream 1 and all that, And when you beat the game with like a Ghostface, he's like, "Oh, I was at Haddonfield," like wherever they were in the movies. He gets warped into Mortal Kombat land, but he's doing the same thing, and it shows him like killing somebody like he did Drew Barrymore in the first one. But there's people from the Mortal Kombat universe that he's in now, like that sort of thing. But yeah, it's super fun. Yeah, I just love the idea that there's two of you, and even when it starts, it shows like one Scream character holding the knife, and then the other one's like, wait, and then he like pushes him to the side, and he comes over and grabs the knife. Like it's, yeah, and I watched like all the intros, like with the different characters, and they're all like, there's like, how many are there? Like, oh, well, sometimes there's more than two, and they do all these different things about it. And yeah, some of the other combos, Surprise Sydney, that was Nev Campbell's character was Sydney, and Scene Stealer, which reminds me of, will always remind me of Terror Firmer. You selfish Scene Stealer. But yeah. Always outnumbered. That's the move where the other Scream guy shows up on the other. But yeah, I don't know. I was surprised at how much I got into Ghostface, because I mean, Jess and I, we watched all the Scream movies, the new ones as well. Which actually the new ones have been pretty good. Like I thought 5 and 6 were great. I mean, but then they had all
5 and 6.
Yeah,
They're pretty good. Yep.
I mean, two 2 was okay. I thought 3 was bad. I think 4 was pretty bad too. But when they rebooted it, but it was still sequels, I thought they were pretty good. But then was it Michelle Barrera said some Palestine stuff, and then she got fired, and then Jenna Ortega quit also, and then the director quit as well. And it's like, what are we going to do for 7? It's like there was this whole like political thing that happened and whatever. But yeah, anyway, Ghostface is super cool in Mortal Kombat 1. Lots of fun.
I get it confused with because there were so many Scream movies, and then there's also the scary movies, which were the parody or whatever.
They're doing another one of those too, which I think.
So they all just kind of blend in my head, to be honest.
But I think she's actually going to be in it, like the one that got fired for mentioning Palestine or whatever.
That's kind of funny.
I think she's actually going to be in the Scream movie. Is what I heard, like the new the new scary movie. But no, what was it? Michael Raparis mentioned this on Video Game Apocalypse, and I totally agree. I would fucking love if they made like Mortal Kombat All-Stars or something like that, or like Mortal Kombat Guest Stars, and we just make a game that is just all the extra Mortal Kombat guys that are in there, because there's so many horror people in there. Like they did like Freddy Krueger, Jason, like Leatherface, they did like, or they did Terminator. I don't know if Spawn was in any of them. I thought he was just in
Soul Calibur.
Soul Calibur.
Oh, Soul Calibur, that's right.
But I'm just saying Mortal Kombat's done a lot of really cool crossover stuff. Or like even like the DC one, the DC fighting game had like all 4 of the fucking Ninja Turtles in there. Like it would be let's just do a game with just all of the guest characters from all of the Midway fighting games. I would totally buy that game for $70 or whatever they put it out for. It'd be fun as hell. Because yeah, I mean, just seeing how cool Ghostface is in on there, and I played a little bit of like the Freddy, Jason, Leatherface stuff, but I wish that was in there as well. And yeah, just let us play as all the weird characters. And yeah, with like Conan the Barbarian, like T-1000 and Terminator was in the last one, and like all the weird shit, like all the weird movie stuff they brought into it. Let's do that. That'd be a lot of fun.
If they ever add Gumby, I'll give it a chance.
Hey, I don't know. They've been pulling a lot of stuff in there.
Gumby's like one of the most powerful beings in the world.
Well, I mean, he probably can't get stabbed or anything, right?
He's a bit like a Kirby.
Because his skin is
claymation
all Gumby. So yeah, I have to mention it because I said it at the beginning of the show. But 2015 is like 2002. I bought Tokyo Xanadu EX Plus. I bought it because our friend of the show, Hugh, said that he liked it, and he's a big Falcom fan. And I love Falcom. It's basically Ys meets Persona. And it's been a lot of fun to play. I got it for $34.99, marked down from $49.99. That was a good deal for me. It was a 2015 Vita game, so it's like almost 10 years old. But it runs great on Switch. You go to school in the daytime, you have a part-time job, and then you fight demons at night. It makes sense. But yeah, it's like Persona. It's not 100 plus hours either. It's like 30 or 40, so good for that. But the one I've been playing recently, as in today and yesterday, is Ironfall Invasion. It came out in between episodes. If nobody remembers, Ironfall Invasion was a 3DS game. It was a 3DS. It was basically can we get a Gears of War type game to run on 3DS? And that's what it was. And I got it for like $14. And it's just a stupid ass third person shooter, and I love it so much for how stupid it is. It's very much like let's just run and shoot aliens. And the voice acting is so hilariously bad. I put it in the notes, but the main character basically imagine like the announcer from Wave Race is in a suit of armor and shooting aliens. That's basically like what you get. Where like you're getting shot and you're almost dead, but you reload your weapon. He's like, okay, cool, all right, no problem. And then you're gonna shoot the next guy. It's so ridiculous, like the voiceover is, but it's fun as hell. And that it turns out that one came out in 2015 as well. Maybe I needed to play games from different years to remember or to think of a time when everything was better. I was talking to Jess earlier about I don't know why we were talking about snowmen or snow people or whatever, and just talking about how much easier it was, where all we really cared about was making a perfect snowman on Animal Crossing. Like, you remember that? Let's go back to that.
Yeah,
that was a good time. But yeah, Ironfall Invasion. Fucking fun as hell. I think it's only a couple hours long, but I've been having a great time with it. And the only way I played it on 3DS is they gave the multiplayer version out for free, which I really wish they would do that on Switch, because then we could all play. So it was basically like there was the single player version was paid, and then the multiplayer was free, so we could all play it. And that's the only one I had was the multiplayer version. And it's so nice to play it with an actual dual analog thing instead of having to do like, the Circle Pad Pro or Circle Pad Plus or the nub or that shit that we had to do for the old 3DS. And it looks nice, it's like playing what was that horror game that I played that was a 3DS game? Dementium, yeah. Yeah, it's like playing Dementium but not having to do it with a touchscreen and all that. So that's fun for me. And I think that's probably good. I should mention, just because we got it as a code, Servonauts, we got that from Untold Tales.
Yeah.
I actually played through it on stream when we weren't recording last week, and I did get a comment, which I do want to read because comments are always hilarious on here. It was basically somebody once again talking about my audio editing abilities and how bad I am at it. And I watched it again. I don't really understand what they mean by that, but I think they just mean that I'm a dumb person and I don't understand things.
Well, anyone complaining about a free show online, whatever.
I just find it funny when I get comments for anything because, like, who gives a shit about what I'm doing here? It's not loading, so I guess here, hold on. Let me just read it off my phone. So this is from Dicey Wolf. I appreciate seeing the gameplay, but goodness, you might need to work on your audio. The game was too loud and muffling over the end. that's the
Makes sense.
But I was like, so I got comments on my Ease 10 video, that I was too loud, and you could hear my breathing over the game, and then I got another comment saying that I'm too low and the game is over me. So I'm on both sides of the spectrum here. I've got one side or another, but aside from that, Servonauts is a game that's sort of like, they compare it to like Overcooked, but I don't think it's necessarily like that. But it was fun. What is it like to run a gas station in the future? And you have, the different cars show up that need different types of gas, and you have to you get to create different, you'll basically drill to like, you'll have a little gas flow and you make a little pump out of it. And then you make another thing that, the gas will turn into water, or you'll turn into another thing and another thing. And different cars need different things, and you basically have to fill them up a certain amount of times, and you get to progress to the next screen. And it's supposed to be like a 4-player multiplayer thing. And I played it by myself, and I got it all the way through. But it's an interesting, unique game, and I don't know. I think it's worth checking out if you need some extra multiplayer shit. And it's pretty cheap. I think it's like $15 or less or whatever. And as I said, I said at the top, but I do have an embargoed game that I'm playing that I can't talk about, but I think it's really cool. I think we'll talk about it next week. So, hooray! And also got some Black Friday. I got some Black Friday Christmas gifts for John and Jeremy, which we will open on a later date.
So, seed mine.
So
I have yet to open it.
John has a physical one, so so please be excited for the future.
I am excited.
Yeah,
I like Excite.
But what kind of news do we have?
News. Don't snooze or you miss the news.
Big one is Switch 2's Joy-Con design may have leaked. There was like a kind of not so great quality image.
Oh yeah,
Joy-Con looks like there's an extra button on the back or something.
From what I gathered from it, there's like a release switch or something too to separate from the magnetic suction or whatever the fuck they want to call it.
Mm.
But there is kind of an extra trigger maybe that connects it to it. I don't know. But yeah, the pictures were really blurry and really hard to see what was going on in there. I did see those, but it's like,
Yeah, grain of salt situation.
Fantasia Neo Dimension comes out this week. That's the Final Fantasy game, with no.
The one that was originally just on Apple Arcade.
It was on Apple Arcade, and now it's $50 on Switch, which I think is a little high.
Is it a Final Fantasy game, or is it just from the same guy?
It's the same people. It's not Final Fantasy.
Yeah, I meant Final Fantasy type game made by the people who made Final Fantasy. Some of the original creators. Well, it was like the guy who did 14, right? Like one of the main ones.
I think so.
And Nobuo Uematsu was the one who did the soundtrack. Roller Coaster Tycoon Classic is coming out for $24.99. I was always kind of curious about those games. Anton Blast coming out this week as well. Fitness Boxing 3, there's a demo out for that. And I said Ironfall Invasion, but I already talked about that. But also, kind of out of nowhere, The Thing remaster is coming out too this week.
Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah, shit. I mean, I don't have money for that, but I love playing all of the Night Dive stuff. They need to send me codes. Let me do reviews for you guys. I know you're listening to this. You're probably on Blue Sky. I'll find you and follow you. I'm gonna track you down on Blue Sky. We're gonna be friends. Figure it out.
There's a not so mini of the Spectrum, the the computer that was more popular over in England.
ZX.
Kind of cool. Yeah, the ZX Spectrum, but it's just called the Spectrum here. I guess maybe for licensing purposes. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the name, the Spectrum, but I know about the ZX.
Yeah, the ZX Spectrum or the Sinclair Spectrum. Yep. This one's a 1-to-1. It's actually not a mini. It's a full size system with it was a computer, so it was a keyboard and all that stuff. So that they had to make it full size so you could do that. But I think it's kind of cool. I have some interest in picking up something like that, just to see what the other side of the world was really into at the time. I think that's kind of cool.
Oh, speaking of, we talked about it a while ago on my stuff, but speaking of NSO stuff, well, we had the Genesis games that came out. So they added, I don't know when they added Genesis stuff last to the Switch, but they put those on there. Which I think the main one for me is Vector Man. That was a bit. I mean, speaking earlier about the Donkey Kong Country stuff, I always thought that was Sega's response
their
to
answer
that,
to
right?
it. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, to their own. And I played it on the. I don't know. I always had a hard time figuring out how to play it, but I've tried to play it many times because when I saw commercials for it, I was like, oh, that's like Donkey Kong. I love Donkey Kong. I want to play that game. But the Toe Jam and Roll Panic on Funkotron, that was never on there, and now it is. And a game called Mercs is on there as well. But the reason I went back to this is they announced a date for the Tetris NES, which is not on Tetris Forever, but
they did, yeah.
But the NES Tetris, which I actually looked for it. I was like, is that on there? And it wasn't out yet. But it's coming out when?
I think it's the 12th.
Oh, I thought it was
the 10th. Maybe it's the 10th.
It's next week at some point. But the other cool thing that's happening is they're actually doing a Tetris NES Tetris 99 event this weekend. So that's fucking cool. So I'm 100% gonna play that. So I love getting them themes. We got another theme.
Didn't we already get a Tetris NES theme?
Game Boy. It was the Game Boy one, not the NES one.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. We got the Game Boy one because that was available on NSO, but the Game Boy one may not have been available yet. I thought, because I think that they gave that theme right after 99 came out. It was around the beginning of that. But I mean, cool. I mean, I love those 99 Maximus Cup events. So, and I know you do as well. Jeremy does. But
when I remember.
But jump on and play some NES Tetris on there and get your NES Tetris. Get your theme for that. It's a good one.
Another cool game got announced is the Epix Games Sports Collection.
Oh yeah, I put that on for you. It's actually out now. It's actually already been released.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's already released. It has California games, all the different versions of California games, plus other games. There's a wrestling game in there too. There's a pro wrestling game as well. I don't know. That's not the one with the announcing, right? That you always talk about.
No, the one I talk about is Tecmo World Wrestling.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure if it was that one or not. But there's a bunch of different games. It actually did come out. Yeah, it came out last week. It is available right now on Switch, and it has a wrestling game on there. But I was curious if I'm sure somebody's played it, but yeah, if you want to play
interested in this one because I just like the idea of these kind of these games that nowadays would be considered not big enough to re-release on their own, but taking the similar themes and packaging them all together like this into something that is worth paying $20 for or whatever it costs.
Oh, it's less. It's $11.99.
Oh, even better.
It's less than that. I was going to say I don't think it's that much. So this is what it has on it. It has Summer Games, Summer Games 2, Winter Games, World Games, Championship Wrestling. That's the one I was thinking of. California Games, and the Games Winter Edition and the Games Summer Edition. So that's 8 games on there for $12. So
yeah,
not bad
I get
at all.
that.
You get it's available right now. It came out November 28th. So yeah, it came out in between episodes.
I mean, I probably would have paid $12 just for California games alone, even though that game, I don't know, it's kind of hit or miss. Like I just have nostalgia for it. Like some of the games are really hard to. Most of the games are really hard to play, hard to control. But I remember I had good times with Hacky Sack and BMX game when I could get them to work properly.
Yeah, right. It says you can play 8 players on a single Switch system. That's interesting.
Well,
I mean, no online play, but you can play up to 8 people locally on this.
Is there like a volleyball game or something on there that you play 8 players at once?
Yeah, I don't know what exactly that's for. I mean, it could be like a hot seat thing where you switch the controller, but yeah, it says 1 to 8 players locally. So cool.
Interesting. We got new footage for Professor Layton in the New World of Steam, which I like those games back in the day. I'm interested in this.
Yeah, I didn't see. I missed that. But
oh, you missed that. Okay.
I missed the trailer, but it's probably looks good. I'm sure.
Yeah. What else? This is funny. Devolver Digital put on a parody award show to announce 3 delays. Perfect. Those guys just continue to hit with their communications department. It's just everything they put out is actually entertaining rather than just being rote information. They actually make it entertaining.
It seems very Devolver, right? Like that
Yeah.
seems very much what they would do, right? To do a whole presentation just to show delays. So
yeah, yep. So I know that, like, at least for their direct style announcements, the director behind that was the same guy who did "Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared." Which, when I realized that, I was like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense." That's why I like these so much. Like it's just this odd, offbeat sense of humor. And they did it again to announce delays for, what was that, the one weird walking simulator game, and then 2 other games they got delayed. But I don't know. That's even kind of besides the point, like what the games were. I just like the fact that they announced it in a award show format. I think that's so funny. And then speaking of delays, cancellations, etc., Animal Crossing Pocket Camp is no more.
No, it actually isn't. It isn't no more.
Well, it's got the all-in-one complete version or whatever.
I'm just saying it's important. It does actually exist because I'm sure I mentioned it on the show before. My wife Jess loved Simpsons Tapped Out, and they're actually discontinuing Simpsons Tapped Out, but there is no way to play it anymore. And it's pretty cool that Animal Crossing Pocket Camp actually got this. Because the reason that they kept it going is so many people did want to keep playing it, and you can actually buy it right now for $10, and I guess it's going to be $20 after the end of January for Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. But people who put a lot of time and effort into building their areas and all that, they don't want it to go away, and it's not going away. It's showing up as a bought thing, and you can get all the things that were available before that, which is cool. Like they should do that for Simpsons because, like I said. Jess was very depressed about Simpsons Tapped Out going away because they made this beautiful Springfield on there, which you may not be able to see when it's gone. So it is important.
Should be par for the course that every time they discontinue one of these live service games, just to put out some final version of it.
Yeah, I mean, and that one was free to play. Like, if you care enough for it, let you pay for it and let you keep doing stuff to it. Jess was always looking forward to all the updates, and they did a bunch of like Treehouse of Horror stuff and all that, and it was just they were ending it at Halloween, just like putting the knife in there, at what used to be like the time to look forward to and all that. So I mean, I think it's really cool that they're doing this its own thing. I don't even know if I played Pocket Camp at all, like maybe for a second for the podcast, but.
Yeah, I played it for a few minutes.
But it's important that it's there for people to have it, to pay for it. It's not actually dead. You can actually buy it and play all of it and not have to deal with microtransactions. You'll just pay an amount and you'll have the whole thing. Like video games should be, right?
Right.
You pay once and you have everything, So, I mean, I think it's cool that they're continuing it on for the people who like it.
There's a new book that's coming out that I'm interested in called An Unendorsed Anthology of Club Nintendo. And it's just a photo and description of every single reward that Club Nintendo offered.
Oh.
I think that's so cool that someone's putting this out. It's a Kickstarter project. Looks like a nice hardcover coffee table style book. What a cool thing for such a niche interest that they'd like wrap it all up in a bow and make a nice little coffee table book of it. I think that's so cool for those of us who pine for the days of Club Nintendo and Game and Watch Ball rewards and all that kind of thing. It's very, very cool.
For sure. Yeah, no, I'd take a look at it if I had it in my possession.
I'm interested. Okay, so here's two cool movie/show projects, whatever. There's a documentary coming about George Romero's unmade Resident Evil movie. I want to see this movie because I remember anticipating this when it was announced, and I remember our mutual friend Chris Leeson.
He's been on the show. He was a guest on the show once. Yeah.
Yeah, he told me this is freshman year of college when we were in film school, and he had a copy of George Romero's script given to him and signed by George Romero. I guess he met his daughter somehow, and some. It seemed like they had a. It wasn't like a convention meeting situation. It was like he had this personal connection to George Romero and was able to obtain a signed copy of this Resident Evil script that never got made. And I'm just interested to see what this movie would have been. So I want to see this documentary that's coming out, which is called George A. Romero's Resident Evil, and it's coming out in January on digital.
It's going to make you so sad to see that, And
I know.
I mean, versus the Paul W.S. Anderson Resident Evil.
You guys, you had the guy who
the guy who inspired it all, inspired Resident Evil in itself.
I mean, you can't really point to in the history of movies that many people who literally just created an entire subgenre.
Yeah.
George Romero was one of them, and this was his was the movie that inspired your game, and you didn't want him to make the movie of the game that was inspired by his movie. Like, what? Why did you fuck this up? Just like give him the keys and let him do his thing. That's it.
By the way, two franchises, not just Resident Evil. Was it Dead Rising was based on Dawn of the Dead, also another Romero thing.
Yeah, jeez.
So I mean, we have two Capcom franchises here that were inspired by Romero, which I always figured it'd be funny if they did do a Dead Rising movie because it's like a movie of a game inspired by a movie, But that's most games are inspired by movies anyway. So yeah. But
so what could have been? This movie's gonna make me frustrated, but I need to see it.
Yeah, no, I totally want.
January
like
sometime.
I like watching those movies about movies that didn't happen. I don't know if you ever watched like the
Superman movie.
Yeah, the Superman movie documentary was really good about the Nicolas Cage one that had I'm sure I mentioned it. The Fantastic Four movie, which did happen, but that documentary was really good too. Yeah, which you can find that on YouTube, and you can find the whole movie on there as well on YouTube, which is worth a watch. But yeah, I like watching both of those. There was supposed to be one about the Justice League movie that never happened, like way before the Zack Snyder
Wasn't Kevin
one.
Smith supposed to do one?
No, it wasn't Kevin Smith. It was George Miller, the guy who did Mad Max.
George Miller, that's right.
Mad Max was supposed to do George Miller was going to do a Justice League movie way back when, and like in the 90s, and I was like, holy fuck, that would have been cool as shit. Like, but there was supposed to be a documentary about that too. I don't think it ever came out, but I would love to see that. Like that would have been a badass movie.
And then the other thing that I alluded to is regarding the Amazon show Secret Level, which they put out a trailer for the Mega Man episode, which is I'm pretty interested in seeing this show because they did Love, Death, and Robots, the same studio, and I think they'll handle these franchises well. But the one that I'm most excited about is the Mega Man episode. I just think to see a well-produced Mega Man series, looks beautiful, good, nice visuals and all that kind of stuff. I think it's gonna be cool.
If they don't have the Proto Man on there writing it, I'm not interested. I mean, that's what I was. Ever since I ever discovered the Proto Man, I was like, man, I wish I had a whole lot of money, because if I did, I would just give it to them and just be like, here, make a Mega Man movie. It will be fucking amazing because your albums are incredible. Like, obviously, you got way more from Mega Man 3 than anybody ever did. I'll be
disappointed if there's not at least one of their songs on that soundtrack.
Yeah, I mean, when I
so obvious.
When I first saw them, I was like, man, I would love to just give you like, I don't know, what, $100 million or whatever it takes to make a movie, and just be like, here, make a fucking Mega Man rock opera movie based off of your first album, and it would be so fucking cool. Like,
I think anyone who's doing an iota of research for a Mega Man movie or TV show project would discover the Proto Men and say, yes, this needs to happen. Put them in the show.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they got more out of Mega Man than anybody else ever did, I think. I mean, that first album, like, it was like, oh my God, like you found this whole other story inside of Mega Man 3. Like, that was so epic and so amazing. So, yeah, let's do that. Make it happen.
We had a couple of soundtracks added to Nintendo Music. We got Brain Age. We got Splatoon 2.
Well, I mean, was it fully added, or I thought people just found it hidden in there, right? The Splatoon 2 thing. Has anybody used Nintendo Music? I haven't. I haven't used it since we did an episode about it. I haven't touched it.
Yeah, I keep checking in on it. It's just like, man, that would be so much more. I don't want to keep.
Well,
saying the same thing again.
Well, Nintendo. So Nintendo's a big corporation. Fuck them. Yeah. But there is a show called Nerd Noise Radio. We've had John Wedgeworth and Hughes Johnson on our show. They did. I did want to mention this on my part. I listened to Hughes' farewell to Nerd Noise Radio, where they did two. He did his top 50, his 50 favorite songs of all time, or whatever. And it was fucking epic. Like, fuck Nintendo Music. You can listen to this for free on whatever podcast app you have. You know, go support your friends. Who gives a shit about what Nintendo has in there? But it was great because I love talking to Hugh about all these different things. But there's so many Falcom games on there. There's a song on there from Tokyo Xanadu. EX Plus is on there, of course, and like Ease and like Katamari Damacy and like Legend of Zelda. And I thought it was done really well. It was on Sundays is normally my music day whenever I'm delivering whatever, and I just listened to those two episodes back to back. It's like, what? I don't know. It's like 5 hours probably from one to another, and I had a great time doing it. It actually inspired me to create the WRT radio that I just did. It was, I already had the songs out there, but, helped me more inspired for hearing that list. It was so good. So, Nintendo Music was whatever. Go listen to your friends who do video game music podcasts like Nerd Noise Radio. I'm saying you'll find a lot more music on there, and you don't have to wait for Nintendo to drop an album that they put out 50 years ago or whatever. Who gives a shit? Like, really, it's like they have so many CDs that they've released in Japan that they could just put on there. Like, yeah, honestly, I haven't listened to it since Donkey Kong Country 2 was added on there, so it's been a month or so since Nintendo Music. I need to build up at least like 10 albums maybe, and then maybe I'll listen to it. I got other podcasts to listen to.
One thing that I was really excited to hear about was the company has acquired the publishing rights to Shenmue 3, and they teased an announcement. So I took that to mean, and a lot of people took that to mean that something's happening where it's coming to Switch.
Maybe we'll see any of the Shenmue games or whatever.
Any of the Shenmue games, yeah. They only got Shenmue 3 as far as the rights go. The company is Inin Games, ININ.
Yeah.
But I mean, if number 3 comes to Switch and is a hit, then that could inspire Sega to actually put 1 and 2 on there. Just copy paste that shit. I don't care. Just put it on there. However you got to do it.
They already got the best Shenmue game on there. They got Yakuza on there. What else do they want? Don't need anything else.
I mean, I would hope that the sales of Yakuza, supposedly Yakuza sold like hotcakes.
It was great,
they said, right?
Yeah. No, they said they were very surprised, which I'm not surprised. I mean, this is like the only place that Yakuza wasn't at yet. It's like, I don't know. I mean, it was like, I felt like it was like one of the only systems that it didn't exist on. I mean, they put it on fucking Xbox. Like, this is a Japanese game. Like, nobody buys Xboxes in Japan. I was kind of surprised by that. I mean, that's the whole reason I got a PS3, because it was a PlayStation exclusive back then. Was Yakuza games. So
hopefully it spurs them to put Shenmue on there. I mean, they got these 20-something-year-old games, 25-year-old games that they could just put on there and make some money off of. Just do it. People want it. Make it happen. Shenmue 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, I'm really surprised it's not on there, especially with all the support we've gotten from Sega. And it's like, people are gonna buy it. Like, you're gonna make money off of it. Like, I don't know, why would you not want to do it? Like, seriously.
I think maybe one more to finish it off would be, we got to mention the 10-year anniversary of Amiibo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 10-year anniversary of Amiibo, and don't forget Smash Brothers for Wii
Smash
U,
Brothers for
because
Wii
it came out
U
on the
and
same
3DS, yep.
day.
3DS.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, yeah, I don't know. We miss. I mean, what was it? IGN did like a whole episode about November 21st and how many games came out on that day and all that, which we missed that because I don't think we recorded then. But I was saying there's
I think the 3DS and Wii U
been
versions came
anniversaries
out
for a lot of
a
things.
little separate from each other, didn't they? They come out a few weeks apart.
Yes, actually, the 3DS one came out first, but the Wii U one was the one that came out with the Amiibo because you could scan the
gotcha.
Amiibo on the
Yep.
Wii U, which I thought it was. So I thought it was wrong to have the 3DS one first because they were trying to sell Wii U's. Shouldn't we put out the Wii U one first, and then people would buy Wii U's to play Smash Brothers? But they put out the 3DS first, and then the Wii U one after that. But the Amiibos happened the same day as the Wii U one. So yeah, and now I have. I don't want to count how many there are, but I have. I don't know. I might have 300 Amiibo. Who knows?
Oh my god.
They're everywhere. They're
I have
all over
fewer.
the place. They're all going to eat you.
I probably have I definitely have double digits.
I have a lot of them. I mean, I bought fucking shelves to put them on. Like I have like 20 shelves that I bought specifically to house my Amiibos. So, or Amiibo. They're actually supposed to be Amiibo, plural, not with an S. But yeah, I have Amiibo everywhere, and actually, it's gotten to the point where I don't want any anymore. Like even when I see ones I don't have, I was like, but where will I put them? I bought all these shelves for all the ones that I have. Where am I going to put these other ones? So yeah, I would only buy.
Amiibo are going to make you move out of your house.
Buy
That
smaller
the
ones.
Amiibo house.
Yeah,
Look at their own house.
I would maybe buy smaller ones. But I remember seeing. I saw the fucking Guardian, like the Breath of the Wild Guardian one, and I was like,
Oh, recently?
yeah, they re-released it.
Oh,
What was
Oh,
I was
shit.
at Best Buy. I forget why I was at Best Buy, but I was at Best Buy recently, and I saw it there.
how much was it? $30?
It's 20 something, I think. But I just looked at how big it was, and I was like, "Where the fuck am I going to put this thing?" And I didn't get it. But yeah, they had re-released them. I don't know. I was there for something physical, obviously. I don't know. This was a few months ago. But yeah, they did re-release it. You might see it in the wild somewhere. But it's fucking gigantic, and I was like, "Where am I going to put it?" So I didn't get it.
Its own
Memory
shelf.
of the launch of Amiibo is always when I saw it at E3, just like they almost treated it with like a bit of holiness, like it was in the center of the whole Nintendo area of the booth, and it was like in a glass case. They had the initial what was it, 8 or something Amiibo. You could just like walk around and look at them, and there they were. It was just like a pretty cool thing, the first time Nintendo and a long time, releasing something that was, not a video game, but just like also, a toy, but not a toy, but an object besides a video game or a console.
Getting on the Toys to Life
Yep,
bandwagon,
Toys to Life,
but
yeah.
they were there
Yeah.
much longer than Skylanders were or anybody else, right? They
Yeah, I mean, they outlasted them all. Still
outlasted
going strong.
Disney, even Disney Infinity. They outlasted that too. It was I was at Best Buy to get my TV. That's why I was there to get this one back here, the newest TV. That's where I saw it. When I saw the Amiibo was when I got this one back here. But yeah, no, they expanded to that, and I remember going to the, Jess and I we went to Toys R Us back when Toys R Us still existed, and I remember looking around and seeing all these ones that I should have got. I think I got the ones that were everywhere. I think I got Link and Star Fox and maybe another one, and I was like, I should have got the Marth one, or I should have got the Wii Fit Trainer, which I have them now, because I actually bought them. I actually ended up buying them from Japan through Amazon, which was actually way cheaper. And also, we went to Japan, and nobody gives a shit about Amiibos there. You can buy them all over the place for like nothing, So I did buy some used ones there. Actually, I don't think they were new. The used, I think they were in their package still. But it's not. People aren't assholes there. They don't buy things and like try to sell them back for 3 times their price or whatever, that sort of thing. So, but yeah, Amiibo, they're gonna eat us all eventually. Well, mostly me because I have the most. But they're pretty. I like to look at them.
All right, let's Amigo.
But yeah, that's good for this episode. Yes, let's end it, please. Amiibo, come save my soul. Come take me out of this life.
Guardian Amiibo, wrap your testicles around my neck.
Oh, hey. All right. Yeah. NintenDomain After Dark here. Yeah. Everybody, thanks for listening to episode 449. And, throw us some dough at patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. And you can follow us on the Bisky. You can find me on the Bisky. Jeremy officially declared that you were done with Twitter. I saw it and I commented.
I haven't been on there all week. I deleted it off my phone.
Like I said, you deleted off your phone. Like I said, the only reason I've stuck on it is just because Nintendo has not made the jump, but everybody else has. So, like Japan, most Japanese companies are still only on there, which is unfortunate. But Blue Sky has felt like a breath of fresh air. So go there, and I finally did things right there, where we have an account for the podcast and we have an account for me, instead of the account of the podcast and me being the same on Twitter. We're actually two things now. Which apparently that's the way you're supposed to do it. So
yep,
that's why I'm doing it. And John, you're tired of Facebook. Come join us on the Bisky. Come to the Bisky. It's a nice place.
Yeah, maybe so.
There's a lot less ads there. Trust me, I've barely seen any ads there. It's kind of, it feels nice. It kind of feels like when I liked Twitter like almost 10 years ago. When I started for the podcast, when I was like, oh, this is fun.
Do you ever get random groups shoved into your face saying, join me or do this or whatever?
I've not seen any groups. No, no groups yet. Well, I did, like I said, I got followed by a fake Nyla Rose, but I knew that she was fake because I follow the real one. Well, it said I hadn't followed them yet. I was like, wait a second. I'm following the real Nyla Rose. I know you're the fake one because you're saying follow me back. I was like, I already do follow you.
Oh, yeah.
But they're trying to trick you
because
if you both follow each other, they can message you. And I did. And then they were like, hey, what's up? You want to send me money? And I'm like, you're not Nyla Rose. She would never say that to me. Get out of here. So, yeah. So be careful about that. But it's just because it's popular, there's bots or whatever. But anyway, you can check us out on there. Check us out on patreon.com/NintenDomain podcast. And, YouTube, Facebook. I'm trying to put more stuff on YouTube. I actually got another code for another game. I'm going to put that up there within the next week. So stay tuned. I'm putting more stuff up. There was a new season of Fortnite. We actually had a really good stream on Monday. I actually got to cut somebody up with a giant sword. That was awesome. There's this new Japanese demon hunter thing on there, and they're actually bringing back the original Fortnite. It's coming up back in a couple days too, which is pretty cool. They're going to the OG Fortnite.
Back to building.
No, no building, but the original island, like the original, all the stuff and all that we played way back in 2017. But yeah, you can check all that out at twitch.tv/NintenDomain podcast and youtube.com/NintenDomain podcast. And all that. Check it out there. But yeah, we've been your hosts. I'm Trey Johnson.
Jerry Mikowski.
John Nitter.
And thanks everybody for listening. We'll see you next time.
See ya!
You got a bug in there?
Yeah.
You seem focused on something.
A little net kept flying in my face.
Oh, geez. Those are the worst. I just have those weird wispies that fly around in here.